TomandDanWateringHoles.com. That's all our restaurant and brewery partners that we have curated on one site to let you guys know that these places are places we go to. They're awesome. They have awesome beers and food, and
they
you
have
should check them out.
Rotating events and different things that are happening all the time, like the Breeze. This is a brand new watering hole. Breeze Whiskey Bar and Lounge right there in Kissimmee. You can click through to go to their Facebook page to find out a little bit more about them. But a great little spot that you can stop by, do some bingo, get some handcrafted drinks, and enjoy right there in the heart of Kissimmee.
Yep. So if you're down there near Kissimmee, check out the Breeze. And also, we've got the Current Seafood Counter right there in College Park. They're a watering hole.
I spend a lot of time at the Current. Maisie loves it. Great seafood, beers, cocktails.
We were just at Hourglass in Longwood, in the huge compound. We were just doing our BDM shirt stuffing party there.
Yeah, man.
And
Hourglass has got brand new beers. They're releasing like 3 a week, 4 a week. I mean, they always have handcrafted beers on tap with some food next door. Great little place to pop in.
Yeah, tap room in Orlando as well. Also in Longwood, we got Ailstone. They got 50% off their pizzas Monday through Thursday. They're a great brewery as well. We also have Cafe Da Vinci in DeLand.
Yeah, man. Great place to see a show. We just talked to Jimmy Haha from the band Jimmy's Chicken Shack. If you're also looking for another venue in the Sanford area, Tuffy's Bottle Shop and Lounge and the Music Box right there. Suffering Bastard, Tiki Bar's also inside there. I mean, guys, we have so many bars that you can check out. We have something for everybody. Even if you're not drinking, a lot of these places have like non-alcoholic cocktails, handcrafted little things for you to try. They have a cidery inside Tuffy. I mean, there's just too much going on.
Yeah, Johnny's in Orlando. Also, if you're in Cocoa Beach, Salty Sisters. Check out all our watering holes at TomandDanWateringHoles.com. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan on the couch with us, joining us today from the Orlando Talk Show. From the Orlando Talk Show, not the Orlando Talk Show. Oh my God! I just Don Imus your show. From the Orlando Talk Show, it is our good friend Ross McCoy.
Hey, everybody!
What's up?
What's going on?
Nappy-headed hole. He really stepped in it, didn't he? Oh man! I think he would have been okay if he hadn't had a cowboy.
He's still been doing it.
If he hadn't had a cowboy hat on, I think it's okay. I think the cowboy hat was the exclamation point that took him down the toilet.
Do you think he knew? Like
minutes
5
later.
Mississippi's later. He's like, I shouldn't have said that. Because
he knew.
He has like live
This
listeners.
has happened to us before. I've said things before live on the... Well, not so much now because we're not really live. We're sort of live. But I remember doing morning radio where somebody said something and then like minutes later, somebody comes in, pokes their head in, says something, does something, and then you're like, oh man, well this has just changed the trajectory of the day. The day is different now. It's a different day now. We're going to have to go talk to some people, get yelled at.
My recollection at the time was that he doubled down and like defended himself. I think
you're right.
I kind of remember him being like,
with the cowboy hat.
Well, look at her head. I'm just talking about the facts on the ground. Like I remember a lot of like old man.
Someone should have said that. Just say you misspoke and
just say you're confused.
Just
say you're confused.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a guy who famously like thought he could fight Howard Stern too. So like this guy not really based in reality.
Yeah, you're right.
Is he still alive? Did he die?
No, he died. He died. I believe he died. Yeah. Oh, I spent the whole weekend watching Beetlejuice videos. The whole weekend because my daughter's dance crazy. So when my daughter is doing amazing human accomplishments, when she's doing things, I'm like, wow, how did she do that? I have to go and look at people that I'm like, also the opposite direction. I'm like, wow, I have to go opposite direction. So I go straight to Beetlejuice. I load him up. He is better than ever. Oh my God! They did a new. There's a new segment. It's called "I Tell You About the Stern Show." They did a new bit where they after all of this time.
It better not be Explosion of the Week.
No, they asked everybody that has to handle one of these guys. They asked all the staffers that have to handle these guys which one's the worst. Which one's the worst one to handle?
Okay.
They did like a competition.
Yeah.
And it was serious. You can go watch it on YouTube. It's the only time that I've ever seen Robin, Howard, all these people that we grew up with being serious about it, and they did come to an answer, and they had sour shoes. He's the craziest.
Sour Shoes?
Sour Shoes, the worst.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, a little after your time.
Yeah.
Sour Shoes is great.
Okay.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Look at Bo, he's so great.
Yeah.
He does some of the best impressions I've ever heard of Sour Shoes. He does a Gary Dell'Abate that you could not tell the difference. Like, seriously, you can't tell the difference.
Is he an impersonator?
No, he's a crazy person.
Oh, okay.
He's an insane person.
Okay.
And he's difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Is the guy that like.
I thought we'd have that by now. Like, this show should have some people that we have to, like, I wouldn't nominate Ross to do it, but, like, I do trust you the most. Like, there was a time when Ross would have to go and help us wrangle the unfortunates into the show, and I trust Ross. Ross would be like,
Ross is good at it.
Yeah, Ross is really good. And Ross is like,
get too awkward.
Ross is like, this guy's freaking out, man. He tried to kill me in my van while we're driving over here. Like, right?
You don't even know. At the fireworks tent, I am the designated crazy man dealer with person.
I know you
Like,
are.
and like people will come up to me and be like, "You're so good at that. How did you learn how to do that? Like, what is
Improv
that?"
skills, dude.
I honestly don't even know what I do.
I honestly don't know.
You were born to deal with problems.
Lunatics, yeah.
He can handle a problem, and he can handle a person. He can handle an insane person.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a skill. I definitely think that's a skill.
Like, we had a guy come up to the tent one day, and like, you know, we have an entrance on the east side of the tent. He approached the west side of the tent and tried to walk through the fence, like for several minutes. And I went over, I talked to him for a couple minutes, and like he just walked away after a little bit. And like we walked away, and he was dropping his money, and I was like, "You dropped your money, sir," and he picked up his money and just walked away. And people were like, "How the hell did you do that? That man was trying to walk through chain link." And you talked him down and got him to leave.
Ross could do that.
You know what it is? Is Ross can create a problem, so therefore he knows how to handle it.
He's a creator and destroyer of worlds.
Because like I try to avoid problems my whole life. Like
Ross is in the problems.
Yeah, Ross will go up and be like, "I'm going to tell this person something." Like Ross will do that.
This person looks like they need a problem.
Yeah. So like I'm just trying to avoid everything. So if there's a problem, I'm the worst person to try to handle it because I don't know what the hell to do. But Ross, you're perfect.
You're saying I've spent my life building steel structures, so I know exactly where to put the demo charges to take it down.
For sure. 100%.
Okay. Before we start, let's talk about.
We didn't start.
This is not even the
Me and Ross are chugging down the track. We're talking about crazy people, Don Imus, talking about Howard Stern, Sour
my
Shoes.
A stuff.
Me and Ross are having a great time, but what are you doing over there? What did we mess up your? What are you going to tell us something serious now?
I want to plug David Jolly's show that Ross is going to be at the Orlando Funny Bone, formerly the Improv, this Thursday, and Jolly's headlining, and Ross is you hosting the show?
Yep, I'll be hosting, and it's going to be a good time. Jolly picked out a bunch of great comedians. I don't know who, but I just trust Jolly.
Yeah. It's
going to be good.
He's certainly not unpredictable at all, you know?
Dude, I've been catching up on Jolly's podcast. I've been listening to him on Kill Tony, and like he's everywhere. He's going. I don't know what's up with Orlando, but everywhere else he's going is adding second shows and third shows, the places that he's doing. So like he's doing it. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, that's killer, man. To see these guys go out and then like do it, not only doing it, but doing it at the highest level in a comedy city with other comedians that are killing it as well.
I had a little bit of a drive yesterday, so I was kind of thinking about it, and I got a little bit teary-eyed thinking about the time. Like I was a tumbleweed at Smiling Bison, and I booked D-Rug. I was bringing D-Rug out. And somebody had dropped out like right before the show, but Marcus Crespo was there just watching the show. So I was like, Crespo, you want to do 10? And Crespo was going to go up, and that filled my time. And I walk outside, and D-Rug's there, and he's like, hey, this is my friend. Can my friend go up? And like, I was so close to saying no. Like, I was doing the tally.
You love saying no.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
I was doing the tally, and like, I just added Crespo to the show. I got enough people. I got enough time. I don't know this guy.
Had you chambered a walk home? Did you have one ready to go?
I may have like taken a breath of air to say it, and I was like, you know what the hell, let's put this guy up. And that was David Jolly, and that was his first set, and and then from there just off to the races.
It's crazy, man. I texted him a little bit yesterday because he wanted to double check to make sure he was still free to come in. I think we're getting him fresh off the plane, possibly on Thursday. I just come by, because he asked, and he's like, do you have anything going on? He's trying to be like very professional. He's like, I don't want to step on it. I'm like, just come by. You're fine. If you're coming by from the airport, we're on the way home. Swing through. We'll put you on and talk to you. But yeah, it is cool to see what's happening. Is Austin still considered the place now? Is that still?
I think so. It seems pretty hot from like what I hear. Yeah.
It seems like there are a lot of places and venues opening up, and the internet is allowing you to promote your venue without having to be established or whatever. So it's like there's a lot more place. I mean, I remember when Ross was breaking into doing comedy at
I remember when he was breaking into cars, like at this Publix. Like during lunch, we'd walk over there, pull handles,
rolling and change
at other like bars, and they're just trying
even the
to
other
make,
bar.
Yeah, we're trying to make other venues, comedy venues, and now it seems like there are established comedy venues all over the place now, and it's not like there was 10 years ago where it's just like, oh, there's one, and then maybe a couple others.
But is this considered, like, because you're in it, Ross, is this considered a, like, renaissance of comedy? Or, because I also see my, like, stand-up friends complain a lot about the social media aspects or the crowd work aspects or the, there's like a bit of a debate on whether or not this is a golden age. If you hear some people that say, like, look at what Rogan's doing for comedy, look at the mothership and all this, look at Austin. And then you have some other people that are like, I mean, like, maybe there, but across the board, it's down. So
I'm going to say it was probably like that every boom. I'm probably going to say like in the 80s when there was a big comedy boom and there was clubs everywhere. There probably was a lot of terrible stuff out there too as well then. Like, but there's a wide dichotomy of like you have places like Austin where there's this huge concentration of clubs and comics and everybody's trying to make everything better. And then you also have TikTok where like people have millions and millions of viewers and are doing street jokes and like dumb setup videos that are obviously not real and like terrible form, and people are eating it up with a spoon. Yeah. So you got a really wide gap. But in terms of just what I see on the ground, like there's places like where I did Tumbleweeds years ago that are like they have regular comedy nights now. Bug Nutty out in Cocoa. Like we did like a Tumbleweed there once. They do comedy like every week now out there, and there's a lot of places like that. So I think there's kind of like there used to be a gap of like your professional shows, your bonkers, your improvs, your stuff like that, and then you just had to open mic. Now there's a lot of stuff in the middle. There's bar shows and it's paying stuff sometimes too. I think it's a really good, if not a golden age, like a silver to maybe a rose gold age. Let's call it the rose gold age.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
So just go to funnybone.orlando.com to get your tickets for the David Jolly Show.
Do not search Orlando Improv. They have wiped that from the internet. It is gone.
Yeah. You'll never find it. Mm-mm. You'll be lost in a sea of zeros and ones, never to return.
The's an eclipse today. I don't know if you heard about it.
I mean, like, are we done with that? Like, where? Like,
just go to the Science Center if you want to, watch it properly.
Have you been called by your son's school 100 times from the principal?
I have got 90,000 emails from the school.
Yeah, they are telling me that they are protecting my kids' eyeballs. They are like, we know that these kids are dumb. And I respect that from our principal. Our principal is like, no BS. He has called me 6 times. Also, I'm on some, like, they put my number in Orange County, like, 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
So I get called like 6 to 8 times.
Well, you get the text that they're about to call.
Yeah.
And then you get the call, and then you ignore that call, and then you get the notification that they left you a voicemail. 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And I never even look at it.
Yeah, Tracy in our Twitch chat room, she says, I kept mine home today. Why?
Because of the eclipse.
Were you worried about him looking at the sky?
To watch the eclipse.
Is that why you brought him home?
Because the thrust of the emails from our school was like, we are not letting them outside to watch the eclipse. Stop asking us.
Not mine. Mine was like, look, I assure you that either our teachers will have the goggles. They'll have the right goggles.
No,
which, by the way, I did provide.
Or the cereal box with the hole.
Yeah, the cereal box with a hole. Which I've had. My dad had one of those for years.
Tom's wearing his underpants.
Yeah, so, but no, they were like, look, we're on it, but like it wasn't like you have to stay home because it's too dangerous for you.
Yeah. Also, like the sun's out there all the time, and it was like, if they don't know not to look at it by now, then it's fine.
There's so many jokes I would have made about, like, I can't send him. He'll look at it.
I thought you were going to say make your own eclipse. Like the sun's out there all the time. Just hold something in front of it.
Yeah, look at it. See the shadow? That's basically it.
I do like the average person just not even walking out of their office door to look at it or whatever, just going about their day. Just nothing. It is like an impressive thing that I guess it did happen last year, but I don't know if it will happen. If it'll be a while.
It'll be 20 more years.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 54.
They always say that, and then there's another one.
Yeah. We forgot about this one.
Yeah.
Snuck up on us.
Yeah.
Another thing that's weird about this is that, like I know that I think, and I blame Kennedy Space Force, whatever we call it now. I blame all of that. Nothing in the sky. If you live in Florida, I've seen so many things in the sky that I'm over things in the sky. And I know you and your wife hate me when I say this, but how many Starlinks do we have?
Rocket launchers.
I mean, there's so many
We'll still all go out in the backyard as a family and watch the rocket launcher.
I will never look at it. No, I'm done. I've seen enough of those.
Crystal's mom comes over.
No.
It's a whole event at our house.
I'm done.
I'm with you. We're spoiled. Like, if it was a night launch, we'd go and sit in the field across the street and watch. And now it's like, oh, another one.
Maisie doesn't care.
Too many.
She does not care. I asked her, I'm like, look, there's a rocket. She's like, I don't care. She's like, I'm on my iPad watching cartoons. But the eclipse is and all the things that people think are going to happen. My favorite is the one where the X over Maconda.
Right.
There's a city in North America called Maconda, and the pathway of this solar eclipse is going to form an X over Maconda, and apparently
this
it's going to open
and the last
ground.
one, right? The last two, I think. It makes an X.
And it makes an X, and then the ground's going to open up, and apparently Attack on Titan level-sized giants are going to fly out of the earth and then just start grabbing humans by the handful and eating them like Pez. That's what I heard.
Oh.
At least it's happened over in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time.
Now, are they biologically alive, or they're robots?
No, they're biological alive, but they're.
Well, that means they can't be.
They have no genitalia. They have no genitalia.
Okay, that's a good thing.
And they're monsters, and some of them are big, like the Attack on Titan. Those guys, there's one big main one that he'll even eat the little one.
These are like your Goliaths.
Yeah,
from the
they're just
Bible.
you can't even fathom how big these things are. They could, the main one could scoop the globe up and just pop it in his mouth.
What the hell is he on the globe?
The globe that he's emerging from? I'm starting to lose the thread now. I was with you, but
it's insane.
Don't think about it, Ross.
It's going to be scary.
We did it big last eclipse. What was it, 6 years ago? Did I ever tell you guys about this? Okay, so
is this the one where you camped?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of your listeners may had a lake house in the what's up, shampoo? In the path of the totality, and he was like, hey, any of you guys want to come hang out at my lake house? Come on up and you can camp out, whatever. There's 4 bedrooms, but if you want to sleep in the yard. And so my wife was nuts about that eclipse at that time. So we packed up the kids and we drove up to, I think it was North Carolina for it.
Yeah, I remember this.
And it was wild at that time. The rumor at that time, we got up into North Carolina and the radio was all abuzz about the fact that the eclipse was going to bring out the lizard people in the hills. This was being reported as
lizard people.
A news story. Yeah, in North Carolina hills.
Lizard people in the hills will descend upon the general store and eat up all of our cinnamon candies.
So we were all excited about that. And then we got to Shampoo's house, and we were late because, the kids got sidetracked us, and we got there. We got there 2 a.m. or something like that, real late. Everybody was asleep, and we go to putting our tent together, and we hear this weird splashing down in the lake, splashing, and then we start hearing some noises.
Oh my God, it's Don Imus.
And we're all juiced up on lizard people talk, so we're grab the flashlights, let's go see what the hell this is.
Yeah, you're ready for adventure.
And one of the campers had gotten hurt in the lake and not been able to get out of the lake and was just flailing around in the lake all night, and they had called
for hours, and you descended upon a drowning camper,
and then they had called the ambulance, but the ambulance was having a hard time finding them, so we had to go find the ambulance, bring them to this person, and then it became this whole big rescue operation.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it was and in the middle of the night, and maybe I was on mushrooms because my wife was driving.
It was actually happening.
I swear, if I could make stuff up like this, I would be at home writing scripts.
This will kill your buzz when something serious happens. When you're buzzed,
was he in waist deep water? Or was he out in the lake? What the hell was he doing in there?
We got them in the ambulance and out, and then we set up our tent and went to sleep for a while, and then we got up the next day, and the story was everybody had been messing around in the lake during the day, and this person, I guess maybe one of those aluminum ramps kind of coming up out of the lake or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a ladder or something. Somehow they messed up their foot trying to get out of the lake. And then there's a little shallow spot, a little, beachhead. They just couldn't get up and out. And It was like a Humpty Dumpty situation. Like everybody tried to help him get out, and every time they would, get him, my foot, I can't.
Was this an overweight hillbilly that like?
No comment.
Okay, all right.
He said it was a Humpty Dumpty situation.
I know. I picked up the clues too. I'm a junior Ross detective too.
All the king's horses, all the king's men type of thing. Like everybody tried to get Humpty Dumpty out of the lake, but Humpty couldn't get out of the lake, and eventually everyone was just like, "All right, well, we're going to sleep. Have fun in the lake."
Good night, Dumpty. There is a good night, Dumpty scenario where you have to just leave them. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm thinking that
You would.
That's manslaughter. Just leave someone there like, I am sorry. I'm too tired.
What
of
if you don't
pulling
feel like they're putting enough effort in? What if you're like, you just want us to drag you up this beachhead? Don't you, Dumpty?
I think you have to. You're obligated to save a.
No, we're on
human,
land.
No
That's
matter
maritime law. You're saying maritime law.
Uh-huh.
Maritime law. I do believe you are forced to assist a Dumpty in need. But if you're on land and the Dumpty, you don't feel like the Dumpty's giving you enough like oomph.
And
I feel like you can abandon.
And if the Dumpty is insisting, no, what are you going to do? Are you going to jam that eggshell in there? No.
I love a polite Dumpty. They don't want you doing nothing. They're just like, it's fine. Just leave me here to die.
So before we get into some news and explosion of the week with Ross,
yes.
Or surprise, I have a surprise.
Yeah, he has a surprise of the week too.
I do want to ask Ross how he feels about my theory that if you win the Powerball, your life will be objectively worse.
Okay.
Than if you didn't. So there's
Is there a timeline on that?
Okay, there was a person in Washington that won $1.3 billion in the Powerball. I think the payout is $621 million.
Okay.
If you take the lump sum,
the cash,
right?
Yeah, my God.
So I'm doing the math here of the person. If you play the Powerball, and maybe you probably play it often. If you do, it's like a once a week type of deal.
You got a folder that you keep your pencil and your numbers in,
and then you hit it $600 million, right? I've thought, because Crystal the other day, she bought the Powerball ticket and she hates
it's
when
in
I
the
say
blood. You guys have to buy it. Right?
No, I say 0% chance of when she gets mad. I'm like, it's impossible to win.
She's a
no
dreamer.
one will. She's like, well, one person wins. I'm like, that's not how statistics work. Anyway, she is a dreamer. But I told her, and she was like, oh,
why not just let her have the lottery ticket? Why do you have to like?
Because I have to teach my sons.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't play this. It's a complete waste.
Yeah, but aren't they dreamers too? I mean, don't you want them to have fun? Don't you want to have sex? Let me say it a different way. Let me say it a different way. See, Ross picked up what I was saying. Don't you want to hug your wife nude?
Or let her have the minuscule amount of positive benefit from this, which is the hope. You do until the drawing. You have just a little bit of hope that maybe you will win.
You don't like hope?
She knows I'm lying because I've said this so many times. So even if it didn't
don't say anything.
If I said good luck, she'd be like, "You're lying."
That's passive aggressive. You can't do passive aggressive. You got to just like drive or just like act like you didn't see her buy it.
Dan, turn off the mics. I'm going to tell Tom a secret that I don't think we can let out there to the regular people.
3, 2, 1. Okay, mics are back on.
Your wife doesn't care if you're lying or not. If you just say the thing she wants to hear, she'll be happy.
You say that, Ross,
drives him crazy.
But she knows how I really. Okay, if we go somewhere I don't want to go, and I just sit there silently and look forward in the car.
Well, you're being passive aggressive.
Yes.
I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. You're being passive aggressive.
She's like, I can feel your misery.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking?
I can feel your
I'm
long sides. You do a long side.
No, I don't.
You don't know eye contact, long side, staring at the window.
You just said you're sitting there quietly, but if you sit there and go, hey, you know what, honey? I'm really looking forward to this. Whether or not you are, even if she knows you don't or not, she's going to be just happy that you're participating.
So anyway,
take me to the ticket.
When she told me the other day, like, we didn't win the Powerball.
Did you go, no? Did you yell her like? Did you do that?
No, I kept it to myself
as loud as you can.
Did you say what Buford T. Justice said when his son said the top came off, Daddy? I just watched Smoking the Bandit. I'm sorry.
You're going to get a lot of Smoking the Bandit. Ross just watched it.
It's so
good. Get a lot of it.
It's so good.
I think I did do a passively aggressive. I know we didn't win, but anyway,
did you do really?
But I am serious, and I've told Crystal this before. Where like, well, I'm glad because I truly believe that if we got a lump sum of $600 million, that it would make my son's lives worse.
Castleberry, Mr. Beast, you'd be dropping Lamborghinis.
At the end of their life, and there's no way to ever prove this. It's impossible to ever prove. But I would bet large amount of money
would ruin them.
That their lives would be better if they didn't come into this amount of money than if they did. At the end, if you were able to measure it in some way, like just happiness, fulfillment, whatever it is, like I believe that kind of money would screw with your life so much and be so much of a stress and throw you, because then it eliminates anybody from ever being your legitimate friend.
Is it
Maybe
a
you can
poison
hide
of
it.
some sort?
It's a poison that I think would actually make your life worse at the end of it, and then if you'd never want it at all. Now, I know there's situations and people hear that and they're like, you're insane, and no one would ever deny it. Like, if you, even me, that truly believes that it would make my life worse, I'd take it to see. You'd have to take it to see. But if you thought about it, I think that your life would be less fulfilled, and it would be ruined. Your normal, like a normal human experience would be ruined.
What amount wouldn't ruin? Like, so you get
where's the line?
Is there an amount that you can keep, and then you take the other and go, okay, I'll play? You know, we know that we hear all these people say that if the billionaires with these spaceships would just give okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my lump sum of what I got. I'm keeping X for me to not poison myself, and then this other amount, I'm going to give it to the homeless. I'm going to, like, in my community.
See where's good in the world.
Yeah, in Orange County, Seminole County, Florida. Sure. I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to make some really good programs.
It's different for people that have already gone through most of their life. Like, we're talking as middle-aged people that have gone through poverty, have been poor, have experienced life already.
Middle age, if I make it to 90, that's a stretch.
I was going to say, who are you talking to? My God.
So, I'm
47.
I'm like 3/4.
Good Lord.
You give it to one of us, or someone is listening.
Do the listeners know I'm in a wheelchair?
It's already experienced.
I'm starting that rumor.
That we may have fare better. I'm talking about our kids or anybody that like starts with, because they're never going to be able to experience a struggle or a life without in the back of their mind that they're set forever. And I know it's up to us to be like, all right, don't give your kids any money, make them work for it.
But don't they already think that? Like, I don't think Maisie I'll use my kid. I don't think my kid right now has any concept of what she has. Like, she does not understand money.
No. My kids don't either.
Not at all.
Yeah. And they're young now, but I'm saying, like, once you get to a point where, all right, you're out of high school, you want to start your education, then there's going to be like in your 20s, a time where you kind of have to make it. You get a job, you start working in the workforce, you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
pay
like
some bills.
Like, I'm not gonna because I went through this, and I'm not gonna let my kids. And Ross knows that you know you've got older ones now. Like, going through that struggle and learning how to deal with it is a pivotal part of being a human being in our society or whatever. And I think that's why people get so screwed up if they have an unlimited money fallback where it's like no matter what you do, fail, succeed, it's not going to really matter because you're not going to be, you're not going to be evicted or you're not going to lose your car.
It changes your baseline personality. I see some of these kids around
How
here.
hard are you going to, you're going to feel the pressure that you need to feel sometimes to, to experience, a balanced life. I don't know. I think it was just 600 million. I mean, that's
so
such
give me a
absurd
number. What's the right number?
I don't know. I don't know.
$1 million? $1 million? Maybe $1 million.
It's an impossible question because, of course, you're just going to take the money. I think it'll ruin you.
Is it possible? Well, yes, I think if you're playing percentages, but is it possible to not let it be? Not let it ruin you?
It is, but it's going to take away some normal life experiences that I think would be more beneficial to you at the end of your life.
See, you keep saying normal life experiences like that's important. I don't know that, like, what is it a big deal to go on the school field trip to SeaWorld, like, in the fifth grade or whatever? Or is it better to, like, be a partial owner of SeaWorld and go whatever you want. I feel like, I can make a case either way.
Well, but yeah, the fun, you can have unlimited fun, but I think unlimited fun
it takes away fun.
Then it will take it away.
Well,
It'll take the value away.
I'll give you, for instance, like
if you can have everything, then the value of anything gets ruined.
Well, we're dealing with that right now in a weird way with like TikTok and Reels. And
entertainment is unlimited.
You see a lot of these, you'll see a lot of these, and now because I'm saying this, you'll probably see a lot of these popping up in your algorithm.
Kiss or slap.
You'll see like a little infographic, and it talks about how much we are all addicted to dopamine, and now there are these programs that are trying to get popular where you actively go into the program, and the program like denies you Reels, denies you TikTok, denies you social media, and instead it gives you like real facts and a book you're supposed to read, or 10 different things that you're supposed to do within a room. It's supposed to ground you, and it's supposed to actually break that addiction to social media and that instant dopamine that we all have. Like I've talked about this before, even with alcohol. When you're using it a lot, even if you're not an alcoholic, what you've done is you just raised your pleasure senses to a point where it is literally impossible.
You've ruined it.
You can't get, and then alcohol requires you to get more and more, and you start trying to get more, and you just reach a point of infinite zero where you can't. So then the only way to go is backward. You got to get away from that constant dopamine pump. And you got to almost get yourself back to like you got to detox yourself from that and then start over. That way you can truly appreciate something as simple as like watching a movie. People don't really do that. You get your phone out and you're watching the movie while you're scrolling.
Oh, yeah.
No. This is training you to sit down, and there's a 20-minute show, and you are going to watch the commercials. You're not going to fidget. You're not going to get your phone out. You're not going to look at your wife. You're not going to talk during it. You're going to sit there in the moment for 20 effing minutes, and you're going to watch the show, and that's going to mean as much to you as scrolling through that infinite sea of garbage. That's kind of where I'm at.
I was having trouble sleeping, like about the beginning of the year. We talked about it, Dan. Like I was like, I couldn't sleep, and it was really affecting me.
I'm going through that.
And I was like, I was like getting up in the middle of the night and going for like 2-mile walks 2 or 3 times a night because I couldn't sleep. And I figured out it was because like a couple of years ago, I just started watching He-Man on my phone while I fell asleep, and it was nice. It was like a nice little treat. I'd be watching, Skeletor, I'd be like, and I'd fall asleep, go to sleep. It'd be nice. Then I realized like I was watching TV while I fell asleep, and I was like every 10 or 15 minutes I was waking up like, oh, I'm missing the show. And it was like the TV was keeping me awake. And once I figured that out, I started reading before bed. And now I'm sleeping like really well. It's amazing. And now am I reading Man 'Cause in War is just dumb sci-fi garbage? Yeah, but it puts me to sleep. It's amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of it is screen versus are you reading on a device?
No, book, dude. I went to the library and got books like an animal.
I will correct you, sir. I say like an elevated human. I don't think an animal at all. In fact, I think there's more value to that. There is something to that, but that's what I'm getting. That's all my algorithm is like how to turn, because all we're doing, especially me, I found myself, I search for chemicals all the time, whether it's like, and the guys listening to this do, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on adult sites, all you're doing there is chasing chemicals and feelings, dopamine dumps, exercise, dopamine dump, chasing chemicals. Like all we do is chase chemicals.
Listen to the radio.
Yeah, chasing chemicals. Like it's just which ones do you want to chase? The good ones? I mean, I put that in air quotes because it can be, that can mean anything to anybody, right? Do you want to chase the good ones or do you want to chase the bad ones?
And we're a little bit
technically, I like chasing the bad ones. I like chasing alcohol, but
I really want to get back to why Tom's wrong about this because, in my opinion, I think that your kid, like with zero money or infinite money, the most important thing is to make sure your kids are just right in their heads, no matter what. Because you could, if you're a rich guy and you just work all day and ignore your kids, they're going to grow up to be monsters. And they're going to, of course, if you're a poor guy and you just drink all day and ignore your kids, they're going to grow up to be monsters. So I think the important thing is like focusing on them and doing them right and giving them the tools to know how to behave no matter what they have in their life.
That's the right answer. It's just, I think that's
it's going to be harder with way more money. Sure.
Well, you know, if someone gives me $600 million, like, yes, my immediate
You're going to be off
goal,
riding dirt bikes with Pastrana all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I try it.
Because your goal is, okay, no, let's get serious. I'm going to train my kids. You know, I'm going to do it the right way. But then you slip. And I'm like, I'm saying I'm not that good. Like, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a palace, and my kids they're in their water park in the backyard. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, all of a sudden, like, and they got Lamborghinis, and they're insanely rich.
I gave my boy a water park. I gave my boy,
and they don't even care about it. And then it's like, oh my God, I've ruined it. You know, and like just because I'm not that good of
now,
you know,
would you agree?
Would
you agree that drunk on your white leather couch in your palace, kids are out in their water park, and you are ignoring them, but they're in the water park, still better than abusive dad or ignoring dad, like fully ignoring with no water park?
Here's the thing. I'll go back out there, and they'll just be sitting under the cabana playing Roblox. And I'm like, turn on the water park.
Turn the water park
I'm like, I have lifeguards, and I'm paying. Like, they're just standing there. It's like a waste. It just began, and then the waste disgusts me, and I'm like, oh, my God. Anyway.
Fire the guards.
When we were growing up,
fire the lifeguards.
A million years ago, there was a huge premium on imagination. Yeah. I wonder if that still counts for anything. Does imagination get... I don't know that they've even heard the word in 10 or 15 years.
I think we make fun of imagination now,
Is that what's up?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you got an imagination? You're weak. That's what it seems like. It does seem like imagination is a little more on the effeminate side. And I'm Mr. Imagination, and my daughter looks at me like, you are so effing weak.
We need to bring back the Muppet Babies.
I'm a human Muppet Baby. I have the body of a Muppet Baby.
It's sort of like,
what if there was a nanny the size of Nanny to them to you? How big she would be? That might be the giant that's coming out of the... What if the giant that comes out of the cross is wearing green striped socks?
All right, so Ross,
yes.
Would you like...
I always had a low-key thing for Nanny.
Yeah, dude.
On Muppet Babies. And then they changed Nanny on the new Muppet Babies to that hot girl from SNL.
What's this?
She does the voice.
Really?
If you look up new Nanny, it's a hot girl from SNL or was on SNL. They're messing with me, man. They do that deliberately.
So would you like to tell us your surprise, your explosion of the week? I know we got 8 or 9 more minutes here.
Okay. Let's do explosion of the week.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Let me get the song. Okay, because we haven't played it in a minute.
And again, get your tickets. The funnybone.orlando.com. David Jolly is headlining on Thursday.
Dude,
we'll also be hosting. It's going to
be a barn burner. Yeah. I'm going to run up on that stage and light that place on fire. I'm so excited.
It's going to be crazy. Here we go. Explosion of the week.
We're going to light it up. Going to make it explode. Feel the heat. Watch the flames as they grow. The sparks are flying, we're ready to ignite. With every beat, we're dynamite. Boom, boom, here we go. It's explosion of the week. Get ready for the blast. It's a thrill you cannot see. We're gonna rock this place, turn it up to the max. Feel the energy. It's a fire that can't be tamed.
Explosion of the week brought to you by Pyrospot Fireworks.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Explosion of the week theme song brought to you by Pyrospot. Yes, that is AI. I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, this is some real Pyrospot explosions here, too, that we're talking about.
All right,
okay.
It's a double explosion of the week,
what?
you guys. You know about Los Alamos, right, Tom? When, World War II... we're trying to win, and they come up with this secret Manhattan Project to try to win the war by building atomic bombs.
I
basically.
saw Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar. They thought it was going to ignite the atmosphere.
My daughter and I, when we go to the bathroom, we call ourselves Ploppenheimers, and we think that's so funny.
I went to see Barbie instead, so I'm not familiar. But yeah, they did, at a certain point, some of the math seemed to suggest that the chain reaction caused by the fissionable material might just ignite hydrogen in the atmosphere and light our entire planet on fire. And they're like, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, roll with it.
Let's see. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is the entire Earth's atmosphere igniting. Yeah, well, let's just try it and see. Yeah. So,
free heat.
In much that same spirit. So they're doing a bunch of experiments and trying to figure this stuff out. And I don't know if you know how these bombs work, Tom, but they take this fissionable material, in this case, plutonium.
All right.
And plutonium ore comes out of the ground. It looks just like, you ever seen like ore of any kind? you got a rock and you got like a little thread of like gold or silver running through it, and they got to refine it, and get the gold out of the rocks.
Give me a Minecraft example. Is it like obsidian? What is it called?
Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Oh my god!
You know how to
I
get
know that.
you know how to get enough obsidian. You got to break like 1 million rocks to get it. It's just like that. It's exactly like Minecraft in that respect. And so once they get enough plutonium together, they basically, most of the time what they do is they make two like hemispheres out of it, right? Like a half a basketball and another half a basketball, and like you kind of put them in close proximity but not touching. And this is very simplified. If you're any nuclear physicists out there, I'm just trying to explain it to Tom. Relax.
Yeah.
And you set off a bomb on one side or the other of it, and you kind of slam them together, and that produces what a critical reaction, basically. And highly unlikely this would ever happen in nature. It's like a very man-made thing we do. And when that slams together and all that energy goes out, they have a fun little word for that. Tony will like this. They call it an excursion.
Oh my god!
All right.
Jet skis.
Like all this nuclear energies just come together on a cruise ship and decided to go like snorkeling or something. Boom. That's when it blows up. It's called an excursion. So in Los Alamos, they had a bunch of, they were experimenting. They were doing stuff. They had this one plutonium core that eventually became called the Demon Core.
Whoa.
And if you want to look this up on Wikipedia and follow around, Google Demon Core, it'll pop right up. They had 2 critical accidents with this same core, right? And so the system I just explained, they slam the balls together and cause the explosion. It can also happen in a bunch of different ways. Like you could keep adding material to it until it reaches like a critical point. Or another thing you can do, you can put like blocks, like you put like the sphere in the middle of a table or something.
Sure.
And you put blocks that are reflective, that will reflect the neutrons back to it. That can also increase the criticality and make an excursion happen.
Okay.
So this scientist, they were doing a lot of, like, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They're playing around. They're
Well, isn't that what you're experimenting, right?
They're full Marie Curie in Los Alamos. And so this guy's like playing with blocks. He's putting blocks around this demon core. And they're neutrino reflective. So he's seeing, like, if I put a block here, how many more neutrinos get back, and like trying to establish like at what point it would be like too much and reach a critical mass, right? So he's playing with his blocks. He drops a block on the demon core, and it goes there's an excursion. Not like a full.
Oh my god, was he vaporized?
He was not vaporized. He died 25 days later from acute radiation poisoning.
Oh yeah. That's gotta
He
hurt.
knew though. When he dropped that and something happened, he's like, that's gonna be.
Sometimes you get powers, and sometimes you just poison yourself 25 days later, right?
Yeah. And then I think it's a horrible death.
Yeah.
Like radiation poisoning, like you start just dying from the inside. Like
I've been doing that for 47 years.
Like it knocks, subatomic.
I think weird things start happening. Your skin starts peeling, your teeth fall out.
Yeah. Your cells start dying at a rapid pace.
They start attacking each other.
So the second incident is another scientist is doing some experiments, and he was doing this thing they would do. He had the 2 halves of the sphere kind of together, and they were like manually like kind of bringing them together and closer and seeing like.
Poke it with a stick.
Dan, don't ruin the joke.
Oh, I'm just screwing around. I apologize.
So they're like kind of manually just like, raising and lowering the sphere towards its, one half towards and see how many neutrinos escape, how close towards criticality we get.
Yeah.
And they had a standard operating procedure for this, which is that you put some wood shims between them. So that like it's never going to slam itself together, and
the old shims. My stepdad was a big fan of shims. He has to have a coffee can of shims on his workbench. He's a shim crazy.
I'm pretty sure my dad used that as a derogatory term.
He's like, he just wanted to use shims for everything.
Yeah.
So there was one guy out there who really liked doing this experiment. He would do it a lot. He'd have a bunch of observers in the room and show them off. Show to
Look
them.
at these neutrinos.
And his deal was he didn't use the shims, and he would do the raising and the lowering with just a regular screwdriver. He'd poke a screwdriver there and kind of raise it up and be like, "Look at this!
I'm a
lay it right
badass.
down. Look at that!" And physicist Richard Feynman, a very famous physicist, he compared this experiment to, quote, tickling the tail of a sleeping dragon. And
well, that actually sounds pretty. I mean, that's like, it's still tickling,
One day, dude's doing this. Screwdriver slips. The two halves of the thing slam together.
Oh, God.
A flash of light. Core became super critical. And he jams the screwdriver back in and just tries to flip it off.
Okay. I like that. Like when you drop a burger off the grill. You fly it back on the grill.
He tried the 5-second rule of plutonium core.
You got to flip it back on the grill. It's fine.
He died later.
9 days later.
That's got to be worse than the 25.
Yeah. I
Accelerated.
And then ultimately, those two things happen, and they're like, we should just go ahead and make a bomb out of this thing and just get it over with.
We've killed 2. I mean, it's worked well with 2. Let's do more.
But then they were like, everybody was basically afraid of it after that point, so they melted it down and made like a different core out of it.
All right. It's amazing how humans throughout the history of time have always effed around with stuff. This crazy. I guess at the time they had no idea.
At the time,
even if we know, it doesn't matter. If you brought a tube of mercury in right now, I would pour that stuff in my hands and I'd be rolling it all around, and it's so poisonous. But you just want to do it, right? You just you can't. You don't have a choice.
At the time, in like the mid-40s, this was the height of science. This was like nationally funded. It was to end a world war. There was like more money being poured into this and more brains being poured into this. And just some guy with a screwdriver, look at this. Look at this.
Like, I dropped it. The flash of light. I'd be like, I don't think that's good.
But there are an endless sea of videos of people doing exactly the thing you're talking about with just something that's not quite as substantial, right? Like, you've seen the videos of the guys doing burnouts, and the guys they're doing like a burnout and it's like shooting flames. Yeah, and then he dumps the gas, and the whole thing just goes, whoa! Not killing, but burning everybody at the party. It's just like, that's what you do.
But every idiot has a car. This is like they turned on the Large Hadron Collider, and they're like, what can we throw salami in there, see what happens,
Yeah, I mean, it is nuts. You'd think that just because of what could happen, there would be more safety, but no one really knew.
You mess around and you find out, and that's science.
Yeah, that's why it's scary about like AI, and people are like, "Oh yeah, well, the people will be cautious." But I'm pretty sure some rich guys experimenting with some AI, and building like mega.
I'm in the machine. Okay, go ahead. Start her up and see if it makes me a robot overlord god. There's somebody doing that right now.
No, it's fine. The AI can't take over as long as I keep this screwdriver right in here.
You never let go.
Never just effing around. All right, Ross. Well, thanks for coming by.
I appreciate you, man.
Funnybone.orlando.com.
You guys done with me? I booked the whole day.
Well, you can stick around for our BDM show later.
Stick around.
I'll tell you what. You guys subscribe to Tom Dan BDM right now, and I got a challenge for Tom in the BDM show.
Oh, I love a good challenge.
So the BDM show is live on our BDM Facebook page. Also to be out later today, if you are a member, out on the app or the website. We've got a BDM only party coming up on April 20th, and all the BDMs will get that information. So we hope to see everybody there.
If you agree with Tom and you think too much money will ruin your kids, I will take your money for you. No problem.
There you go.
All right, we will see you in a minute. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Let's get our business out of the way, sir.
Well, we have our 10-year live ACT anniversary show coming up, which our next guest is going to be performing at.
I'm really stoked about this, man. It's going to be awesome.
Doing stand-up at the beginning of the show. Of course, we go on at 7 to 9.
Yes.
And tickets are $10, and you can get them at tomanddan.com.
50 seats left, maybe, if you want to grab
them.
So I would get on those tickets. Yeah, it is at the Wayne Dench Performing Arts Center, the Ritz Theater there.
In Sanford.
Sanford, you can just click on the website and get your tickets.
May 31st. Vince Taylor's here.
Yo! How you doing, Vince? What it do? I'm back. Thanks for giving me the address.
Let me give you a blast. There you go. I forgot to do that. I also felt bad that I'm getting something's happening with me where people will send me emails and then it will take me a long time to reply. And thank you so much for replying to him, because I saw the email come through and it's like, help, and I was like, I was doing nothing, not even looking at it.
Do you know the pain of being on the way to somewhere that you don't know where it is?
Yes. Tom does this all the time.
You have to. Am I kidding? If someone doesn't reply, you have to just stop and then go back home because there's nothing you can do.
I'm halfway down Turnpike and I'm like, like, where am I going?
We're different. If I have a doctor's appointment, and I've done this before, and I really do this. If I have a doctor's appointment that I'm nervous
crazy,
about,
Vince.
this is real crazy. So let's say I have orthopedic, right? I'm going for my knee, and I don't know where I'm going, and it's in Oviedo. And I don't know Oviedo. I'll drive, if I got the time, the day early, I'll drive over there, scope out the parking. Okay, there it is. I see it's on the right-hand side. I'll come on back. I'll hit it in the morning.
Stupid.
This guy, he'll wait until ready to go, and then it'll be, his appointment will be at 3. It'll be 2:55, and he's printing out MapQuest. So we have the extremes.
Oh, yeah, the MapQuest is a bit...
We have the extremes here. You'll wait to the last minute before you before he'll be like, he did it today. You were like, you'll do it on a Zoom meeting. You'll be like, where's my link for my Zoom meeting? I'm like, your meeting's right now.
Yeah. I'll wait to the last minute at all times with everything.
And I'll waste time going over a day early.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna lie, Dan, that's a little overkill. Like scouting the place like a day in advance.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's
unless you're robbing
It's
it.
anxiety.
It's his anxiety because his anxiety will be so bad driving there without knowing that
I'll sweat crazy.
it'll ruin his.
But there's Google Earth, there's satellites, there's like a whole internet. You know what I'm saying?
It's wrong all the time, though.
He has to see it with his eyes.
Yeah, you have to go feel the dentist office, right? Yeah,
I don't trust it.
So Vince, it's been a little bit since the last time we talked to you.
2023.
What? 2023? Was it last year?
Happy New Year.
Come on, what years?
Couple of solar eclipses ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Did you stare at it?
I did directly.
What'd you think?
I thought, where are my superpowers? Because I ain't gonna lie, like between me and y'all, like I know I'm kind of the geek on here or whatever.
Sure.
There used to be this show called Heroes way back in the day. You remember that? Siler, Peter Petrelli, all that. I could not stop thinking about this show during the entire eclipse and wondering if I was gonna get powers or not. Like
the cheerleader.
Save the cheerleader, change the world. Hero,
she was the worst one.
Yeah, well,
I didn't even like the cheerleader. I like the fat Asian.
Hold on. First of all, yes, Hero Nakamura was really cool, especially when he had his thing. But the cheerleader, don't sleep on her. She was jumping off of stuff, breaking her neck, getting right up. Just imagine what you can. Let me stop right there.
Blew. I remember when that show blew up. People were like Hayden Panettiere or what?
Yes.
Like, people were like, "This is the coolest thing we've ever seen on network TV."
Yeah.
And why did it drop off so quickly?
Because the next few seasons were trash. that first season, it had the first breakout season. We were all like, "Oh my God, Heroes! I want to be a part." Because it's like off-brand, like in the midst of Marvel, DC, all these other companies trying to meddle. Here comes this off-brand show with the dude who just makes it up based on an eclipse, and it kills. Now, my thing is, it really did center around an eclipse, and when you see it, like the whole logo is based on it. So when you see it, you're like, okay, this thing might happen. I'm sitting here wondering, like, if we did have a real life hero situation and y'all were to wake up and get superpowers, which ones would y'all pick?
Invisibility. I go right for
Damn it, I was going to say this.
Everybody knows it. Invisibility, I go right for everybody's shower. So
that was my dream.
And like the world, there's rockets falling, and I'm just in your shower waiting for you to bend over and pick up your loofah so I can.
And everybody's listening to this. You're not safe.
No one's safe.
Everybody we know, our friends' wives.
Oh my God, everybody.
People we work with, people we used to work with.
Old ladies,
will
young
be in your
ladies.
shower.
Children are off limits. Children. I would not.
No.
Yeah, that's just sick and twisted.
Wow. I'm glad you added that caveat.
Everybody else. Well, because it's a real. You wanted me to answer it honestly.
Now you thinking about it.
Your grandmas?
Grandma's good.
Grandmas are some of the best.
Yeah.
And it's good that we're in there because what if they fall? I'll save them while I'm peeking.
That is cool.
Is it? It's kind of disgusting.
They will fall on my boner.
What about you, Tommy? Any superpower?
He stole mine.
We're so both unoriginal. We're so both perverts. We
It's just want to be in the guy in the showers.
You could be my sidekick and have the same power.
Yeah. Like,
what if you had that? What if you had the same powers?
I'll be your sidekick.
Like, you could stand in the shower.
The invisible men.
Yeah, the invisible men. And we just stand in people's showers together.
No, I don't want to be in the same room. Yeah, I don't want to be in the same room.
You can't see my phone. It's invisible.
I can hear it.
You can't hear it. I'm turning the sound off.
No, I can hear you huffing and puffing.
You breathing on my neck. Is that you? Is that me?
Is there another invisible man in here? Hammerhead? I can hear you breathing.
Put some suds on your fingers. I see. Hold on, he would have echo. If there's another invisible man in here, put some suds on your fingers so I can see it.
I'm not joking. I've gone so far in this fantasy when I was a kid to the point where I was like, you know what will happen is that they'll leave and shut the door, and then I'll be stuck in there all night, and I'll have to sleep on the bathroom mat. Nude.
You can't open a door?
Yeah, wow.
Well, no, because then they'll know if the door opens. They'll be like, what? Who's in here?
You've never had a draft open a door before?
No.
I just assume it's people leaving my shower.
You're missing the important part, which is that this is premeditated invisibility that Tommy's talking about. This is something
crime.
he's been thinking
It's
about.
a crime.
He just said, well, when I was a kid, what I would think is, oh, would it be so great if so this is contemplated. You've actually put a plan together.
Yeah, you're like the lowest level bad superhero from The Boys. From The Boys, right?
Basically The
Because they're
Boys,
all
yeah.
like bad, immoral superheroes. You're like Homelander. Or like,
Yeah.
Well, you're like masturbatory Homelander.
I think his name was Translucent. There was a dude named Translucent.
And it always bothered me that you had to be nude to be completely invisible. Because I grew up in the what was that?
When
one?
I grew up, you didn't have to be. When I grew up, you could wear a fedora and be invisible. Wrap yourself in bandages.
In the good old days, we just put hoods on and we were invisible.
No hoods here.
No, I'm talking about
No, sir.
What was that movie where he had to wrap himself in bandages?
Dark Man.
Dark
Man, yes.
I very
Liam
much-
Neeson.
I very much enjoyed Dark Man.
Yeah.
It was terrifying because wasn't he... Like, he was also screwed up. I
Yeah.
thought. Like, he was invisible, but he also was disfigured, which is why I think he bandaged
I don't know if he was
himself.
invisible. I think he was just messed up. He was like
maybe
a
you're right.
severe burn victim, but he had all of these, like, he had no will to live, so he was just willing to be an all-out action star. But the funny part is, this is one of the few movies where he doesn't end up being, like, benevolent in the end. Like, he's like some psychomatic killer at the end, which I love that
Yeah, he
part.
messed
You know
him
what I'm saying?
up,
So
right?
maybe that does
It
suit
turned
Tommy.
him. Yeah, that was good, George. I remember I wanted to watch that movie so bad, and it was one of those times where my dad like acquiesced, and he's like, all right. So he got it. He went up to Box Office Video and got the VCR tape. Came back, and we popped in. I remember we watched it. It's a pretty dark movie.
Yeah,
I remember both of us. It was one of those movies at the end. It wasn't like Delta Force where we're high fiving. We were more like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, whoa.
I
Let's go to Mr. Donut and get some glazed donuts, boy. We need a cleanse our palate.
Dark is in the title. I mean,
It is Dark Man.
I think he killed some people.
Yeah, family members actually. Yeah, man. So invisibility. I mean, I remember being a jit, as they say in Florida, which just means it just means young adult.
He was a baby.
For those, and I used to think about that too. Like, what would I do? Like, would I be the perv, like in the the locker room, like the Revenge of the Nerds type thing, or would I just kind of use it to go to the bank and would make a withdrawal?
Yeah. Or just like slip out of places that you don't want to be anymore. What would your choice be?
I thought about this long and hard, and I think I came up with. Right now, X-Men 97 is playing on Disney Plus.
Hell yes,
one
it
of the
is.
dopest.
I was showing my sons that the other day, and there's something that is gratifying about, like, Tommy was watching. I turned, I was like, X-Men.
Thank God he's watching it.
Yeah.
Well,
Give that kid a raise on his allowance.
Indeed.
It was something gratifying to me about him watching a cartoon in the same vein as I watched when I was his age.
Yes, exactly.
Like the same animation, same story,
same voice actors.
Yeah, like
Yeah, they really put a lot of time and effort into that. And I'm blanking on the gentleman's name. He happens to be black, right? That rebooted all of it.
Bishop.
Yeah.
That's one of the X-Men.
Yeah, I thought there was a guy that was really like, he was like, no, we're sourcing all the real actors and we're going to draw them the same way and we're going to do this like the way that
the
I grew
creator?
up watching it. I don't know if it's the creator or whomever's taking it on now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who I'm talking about, but I know it's this black guy, and I'm pretty sure he's the guy that like.
As a head, like,
I trust you on that. You're
I may be wrong on that because also comedian Tony Baker is real big on the show.
Yeah.
And he's
coming on
the
our show.
one that I learned from that he was like, look, I'm going to prove to you all that Rogue didn't have that big booty. And he went back into the old source material and he was like, it was just that one frame. Here's her flying in 25 different areas. There's no big booty. It's not like, and I was like, he's good. Like,
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all, Rogue didn't have no big booty like that.
That's pretty damn good, man.
Man, let me tell y'all, I went back and I looked at all of the old X-Men cartoons, and she didn't have that cake
She
like
didn't.
that.
She
Man,
did
I
not
can hear
have
Tony
it.
saying it.
But I learned it from him.
But for me, I would be Morph. Morph, he can be anybody, anytime. And also, he has their powers, too. And I thought about that. Like, why be one person with one set of powers when I could, at any point in time, I could have pulled up in here today and been David Jolly. Would have won everybody's heart over.
That's
And you would have had no idea. Like, hey,
Hold on, that's cheating. That's like wishing for unlimited wishes.
That's right. That's right. It is cheating. And I claim it. And nobody said I couldn't do it. Where's the rule book?
The whole question is picking one superpower and then explaining why. You can't just be more for like, I'll have all the superpowers.
Ain't nobody tell me I couldn't.
Oh, damn.
So I ain't
EJ's
breaking the
telling
rule.
me that guy got fired. Bo DeMeo?
Yeah, Bo. Oh, yeah. Bo at the beginning. Yeah, he Bo DeMeo did. Yeah.
I thought he was the guy that was kind of instrumental.
Yeah, he
Like,
was.
He's like, I'm
yeah,
going to do this
yeah.
right.
Yeah, he got fired.
And he-
That's crazy.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course he
before it
did.
even dropped. But there's I don't know all of the information behind it, but I do remember that being of note.
Yeah, it's just cool to see. Do you feel like, I mean, obviously you do your show. Please plug it if you don't mind.
Yeah, the New Blurred Order on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah. Are you finding that, because one of the topics that I even shared it in my stories, you were talking a little bit about how some big companies or big studios feel like they're taking a step back when they put like a black leading actor. Or like, is that still...
That is definitely a thing. I mean, look, I don't mind if a movie's trash, you can call it trash,
Sure.
but don't prejudge it just because of the lead characters. Like, I saw it happen with the Marvels. Marvels wasn't the greatest movie, no, but before it even got a chance to hit, everybody was just, oh, it's woke. I get the woke thing. I get it, guys. I mean, look, I consider myself, let me not lose your audience, but I just don't, I just don't like, I know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I know who's listening. Don't stop the F-150 now. I know you're listening. But yeah, I just don't like when they don't give them an opportunity. Like, like there's a trash show called Iron Fist that was one of the Netflix shows with Marvel where there was Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Punisher, and the Iron Fist was led by Danny Rand, and it didn't get no blowback for being woke, but the show was trash. Meanwhile, like these other shows, just because there's a black or a woman lead, like they think that just because they're putting that person there that they're catering to some other. But it's like, yo, we have the entire Hollywood history of mostly non-black and women leads. So I'm just saying, give them a chance. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to like it, but just don't accuse it of being like too pandering.
I think that's
you know
fair.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's trash, it's still trash. I'm not going to say it's not trash, but don't give it the whole wokeism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just let it be a movie.
Agreed.
regardless of
Don't
who
label
stars in
it. Just leave it alone and watch it.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good, no matter
Correct.
who's in it.
Exactly.
And then if it's
100%.
good writing and good characters, then it's good. And I think everybody kind of feels that way to the most part.
For the most part.
But then, it's like, then it goes back and forth and everything's politicized and everybody's arguing.
Yeah,
And,
Well, if that's what your identity is, that's what you'll find when you're looking, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just step back.
And you got to understand, like, the people, the anti-woke people, whatever, where they're like, I'm tired of it being shoved down my throat.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you got to understand the history of where we, how everything was just like, there's a white princess and the white prince and then like everything's whitewashed. And it's like, hey, because if you have everybody in there, then people won't grow up with that feeling like something's changed. Like the people that grew up in the 80s, 90s, 70s or whatever, they feel that everything's changing because that's the way they grow up.
Yeah.
So it's like you are almost indoctrinated into what you think, and the change is mess. And then you were rebelling against the change, but that's what history has always done.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Look at that vocabulary on time.
Yeah,
You're
he's been
indoctrinated.
reading. He's been reading.
And now more than ever, you have an unlimited things to view and listen to and watch. There's unlimited content
What
out
have
there.
you been
So
watching recently?
What are people even complaining about? Like, I don't like this show. Who the hell cares?
I mean,
there's a million shows.
I get it, and I'm not going to be here too long because I don't want y'all to be accused of being woke. So we're going to get out of here.
No, you're fine.
I don't even actually know what that means.
I don't either. Like, I'm like,
I get the
okay.
I just see the meal like, ha ha.
I get it. But yeah, I mean, that is something like when you see like a character that's, I remember like there was this really, it wasn't a great movie, Mac and Me. Y'all are from my era. Mac and Me.
Oh,
was
this
in a
guy loves
wheelchair.
Mac and Me.
And
What are you talking about?
Yeah, all right, so
I
remember-
love a good doo-doo alien. That's what Mac is. Any alien that
literally
looks like a doo-doo.
But the thing that we don't realize about that is, like, as much as it may not have been a big deal for us, some kid in a wheelchair somewhere was like, I feel seen. You know what I'm saying? Just because.
Isn't there a scene where he goes flying off a cliff?
He goes off of a cliff,
He's in a wheelchair.
He goes up, of course you remember that scene. But so I'm not. Look, I get it, you know. But at the same time, you know, a show is a show, a movie's a movie. It is what it is. And when you go down the history, like one of the most rewarding things about going to Comic Cons after like Black Panther and a couple of and like Into the Spider-Verse came to be, and you asked me what I'm watching right now. There's a Spider-Verse short that I think everybody should watch. But one of the most rewarding things was going to our local con, MegaCon, and seeing young boys that look like Tommy and Dan dressed up as Black Panther and Miles Morales, and that's what you like. We
With
have
the
been dressed
makeup
up
on their face.
Well, not the face, the mask.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we would have definitely had a talk with the parents about that. But that's where it goes. Like the full cyclical ability
Black
of
Panther
like
was badass.
It was crazy dope. I mean, even though some people had some complaints about it, I love the fact that we can all be any of these characters, no matter what our races are. But just because some others are coming into the fray doesn't necessarily mean that they're taken away from any. Loki's still dope.
There's no taking away. Like Tom said, there's plenty of other things to watch.
Yeah,
I had to
Plenty of seats at the table.
I had to explain to my sons why you can't paint yourself black or any other color, and it is a confusing.
His kids are obsessed with it.
No, well, they don't.
They go to school every morning dressed black.
They
Was I not supposed to talk about that?
It's because if you think about the explanation,
And he got him greasy.
It's confusing.
He got him these greasy, easy wigs. so they're like they're late '80s, early '90s.
Who was into my 6'4"?
Like Crenshaw and Slauson.
Crenshaw, no.
Like wigs.
Your kids pull out 40s.
He makes them wear the X shirts.
They got like a backpack. There's a little handle for their old English, right, on the side pack.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with it, bro.
It's all late '80s, early '90s black stereotypes. That's what it sounds like to dress up.
F the police.
I'm like, you cannot paint your skin
Say no.
darker.
Say no.
And they're like, why? I'm like,
Boone's Farm.
I started explaining the history, and then I'm like, this happened. It was real bad, and then and they're like, okay, but they're like, I like this character. I want to look like him, and I'm like,
Wrong set of dice. You got the wrong dice. Let's watch this Mac and Me.
You can't wear this Easy wig though.
Well, you just look like Kenny G. You look like Kenny G.
Wigs are not a thing.
Yeah.
You can wear any wig you want.
Here's Mac and Me. We're gonna just do this real quick, just to lighten the mood.
Oh, yes.
Here it goes.
Right. Yep. A little faster, please.
Kid in a wheelchair going.
Yep. All right. No.
The music of this is good, man.
Yeah.
The break.
Gravity. Ooh.
Oh man, that's fantastic,
Dude. There's
that is fantastic.
I miss the days
when you
where
can throw a dummy off.
the dummy off of bridge.
We can't do that no more.
No, it just
People don't like it, but I love it.
it's so
I love
fake.
it.
Oh, man.
And then now you see it; it's almost comical because of how fake it looks. But in the '80s, that was that was the height of special effects.
That was $1 trillion effect. Right there. That was the entire
Dummy in a
Spielberg,
wheelchair.
all of Amblin Entertainment it took to put that together, man.
What else you been watching, man?
Man, I've been on the X-Men. I ain't gonna lie, I've also been watching this thing, Halo. Halo's a fairly decent show for the video game. And video games and anime are getting pretty good representation right now. They had the Avatar Last Airbender live action release that I thought was fairly decent. And they're also talking about a live action Naruto. And if anybody knows Naruto, bro, that is like a classic show. They even have Naruto theme parks that they're opening up in Japan. But Halo's pretty cool. I'm also kind of getting into, they just started playing Star Trek. I don't know if y'all are into Star Trek, but it's the last season of Star Trek Discovery, which is the only Star Trek that has a black woman as a captain of the Enterprise, in Sonequa Martin. So Michael Burnham is her name on there. That's I love it. They also reintroduced Spock. You get to see a young Spock with a goatee and a beard and all of that. And I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
what streaming service is that on?
That one is on, it's called Paramount. All right, it used to call CBS.
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
Yeah, Paramount Plus. You know what I'm saying? It's decent. You know, if you want those, do you subscribe to all of those joints? Because I know
got
it gets
them
a
all.
little, it gets a little annoying after a while.
Because of kids, you know, like it's like if it, like
Mine was football. I had to.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
it's only on Paramount Plus. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah,
I'm
me
like,
too.
I'm addicted to gambling, so I have to watch this.
Yeah, it's legal
And then
in
they
Florida.
make me sign up. I go, I put my email, and then I'm like, I'm going to cancel this in a month when the NFL season's over.
forgot, though.
And I forgot it. It's
Yeah.
still
A whole year
paying for
later.
nothing.
Yep.
we got all of it. Like
Yeah.
I got all the dumb shows, and then like lately, the one that I was going to ask you about is the what's that new one? It's an alien thing.
Oh.
It's coming out on Netflix. Like, is it out now? That where it's like a master race of aliens, and they consider us to be like insects.
Is it a cartoon or is
No,
it a series?
It's a series.
It's not invasion.
Somebody might know. I don't.
Come on, come through conversation.
Is it along the same lines as what was that 1980s or 90s show? Oh, V.
V?
Yeah,
Dude,
I love
Where
V.
there's
Now, when
aliens amongst the humans.
I followed that. Man, that was like where that was like a coming of age. That was like one of the first series
Yeah.
that, like, as a nerd, like that was coming on TV. My mom and dad weren't interested in it.
Yeah.
They knew it was like kind of scary,
Yeah.
and I was of age where I could watch it. They would allow me to, and I'd watch it alone by myself. On my own little tiny, I had a little tiny, like a 12-inch.
By myself.
And I'd go in there and sit on my bed and have like my drinks and everything, and I'd watch V. It terrified me.
Yo!
thinking that they were like, they would eat the mice. And
And they're like lizard people.
They were lizard people, and it was like at the time. I know I sound like a country bumpkin idiot, but it was terrifying.
Yeah, well, listen, Dan, they used to rip their faces off.
Yeah.
Like, like literally on TV.
But it was
like
horrible. It looked like plastic. You know?
Rip off the entire face. As a 6-year-old boy, you're like, I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
I remember
Wait-
watching that show, and then I also thought that and there's another thing. It was twofold because like I was terrified of it and eating the mice and the ripping the face
Yeah.
off. But the main lady was the main V. She was the main alien. And she was the queen, and she was hot.
Yeah.
That made me a man. I was like, man, I was terrified, but I don't know what I'm gonna do because I don't know that yet. I want to do something. That lady's making me feel something. I want to be her. I want to be her human slave.
I want the V.
I guess it's HPVVD, whatever it is. Yeah, man, I swear, I was like, he's going really into this whole,
Yeah.
I was in a room by myself on a
it
box.
was
I was like,
but I remember looking at that lady and being like, she's very that alien woman has her breasts out.
she's making me feel things. And they redid that show, too.
Yeah,
and the
and it
reboot
tanked,
was
right?
actually really good. I
thought
liked
it
it.
tanked.
It didn't do well. It didn't get a lot of numbers. I still blame Paramount because at the time, CBS, they're still trying to charge everybody instead of just giving away the service. Like, you know, ABC, NBC, you just download the app or whatever, watch it. But CBS was like, nah, you download it, you pay $5.99 for access. So V ended up suffering as a result. Star Trek ends up suffering. There's like 3 different Star Treks out. There's Star Trek Discovery. There's the one with Captain Pike, which I think is called Strange New Worlds, and then there's another one with Picard, which just ended. All of these shows aren't getting any play because they're putting a paywall behind it. But yeah, oh man, see, we get me nerded up, man. I forget about the fact that so yeah, man, I would love to see V done right. It was such a and if this is the kind of show that you're saying is going to come on Netflix, then I'm game for it.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I think the catchphrase I saw, it's like they're like we're like the insects, and they're like take over, and then we're like.
So that reminds me kind of one last thing, real quick. There's a show called Invincible on Amazon Prime.
It's one of my favorite. I've been trying to get this guy. I've been begging him to watch it. He hates cartoons.
Oh my God.
He hates cartoons. I told him it's the most violent thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm talking blood spilling, JJ.
Like stuff that will like. I've turned off episodes of Invincible to train. That's all I'm gonna say. I turned off the train episode. I sat there. I looked over at Andrea and I go, that changed my life.
No, if you think that The Boys and Gen V is good, then this is like an animated, even more violent version of it. Like it's.
But the story is good because the ultimate conflict. Imagine this, and that's why I think the story would be good for you because it's your dad of boys, right?
Yeah.
Imagine being this boy's son, and imagine you're the ultimate super guy, right?
Yeah.
We'll leave the morals up to whatever you want to throw on it because who's to say, right? Different races, different cultures, different people, they believe different things. Not all of them are correct based on everybody else's set of rules. But imagine if at one point it came down to you fighting your son.
Yeah, man.
And your son's trying to stop you from doing something you think is perceived bad, and you're trying to stop him from just being another casualty because you are the all-seeing, all-being, strongest person in the universe, man.
It's a cartoon, though.
It's still a great story. It's such a good story, man.
No cartoon will ever make me feel anything except for the
Roger
movie.
Rabbit.
Cool World.
I knew it was
Hollywood gave
which
the wood.
which changed me for life.
Yeah.
That made me a man, and it gave me the fantasy of having intercourse with a cartoon, which I still have. Which it's harder to run my head around it now as an adult, but I still.
I feel like cartoons, if they're grinding on you, would be light. Right? I feel like if she's backing that up.
Yeah, I need some weight.
Yeah, if she's graining on that wood, I feel like I would be like, I can't feel you. You're a cartoon. Go pick up one of those hand weights in the gym and come back.
It's like a ghost.
Exactly.
Oh my
How
God.
would you know?
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't know.
Man,
Although the second thing that changed my life was Ghostbusters Ghost Job, which was Dan Aykroyd.
What'd you think of Ghostbusters? We got a
The
little
new
bit of time.
No. The old 1980s Ghost Job, when Dan Aykroyd got the Ghost Job.
Oh, the ghost job where she hovered over the bed and the pants were unzipped.
I like how they make an action figure of that. It's just like it's a see-through. It says Ghost Job, and then it's just like a see-through package, and then there's just one little napkin.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
man.
from that day forward, I never feared ghosts again. Because I was like, I wish there was a ghost here for a ghost job.
But yeah, well, until your mom comes in and wondering why there's so much plasma on the ceiling, right? This is crazy.
Yeah, because even in my mind, and that's when I became okay with anything. Was because I was like, if there was a ghost,
They're not here to hurt us. They're not here to hurt us.
Well,
Just stand still.
well, then I was like, I'm not going to ask this ghost if he's a man or a woman.
Oh my God! Yo, his ghost name is Robert.
I'm like, just don't say it.
No teeth, Robert.
This could change the way you feel about both of us, Vince, but I, too, agree with Tom on that. I do not question the gender of ghosts. If I were in the woods and Slender Man's running at me and then he proceeds to pull my pants down.
A ghost is a ghost. Well, what you all haven't considered is just because they're ghosts doesn't mean they're good at it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
How do you
That's
tell
true,
a
but
ghost?
it's like pizza. It's like, I'll take it.
And then I remember I was like, even if it's Slimer, I'll let him do it.
You like it with all of the
I like big girls.
Like, what is that? And then I was like,
Slimer's just a big girl.
Yeah. Just look up pounds.
I think it's actually, is it Slimer a male? They don't actually
I don't think he has a
specify.
gender.
God.
But I'll tell you what, you put him in some apple bottom jeans and I'll start dancing with him at T's and Q's.
Now when I see Slimer, I'm picturing them in like a tank, like a dress. You know what I'm saying? Like a little tube
maxi
top.
dress.
You know what I'm saying?
I put him
A
in
little
a little-
cleavage in between them. You know what
Put
I'm
him in a sundress with no bra.
I've never in my life thought Slimer, what that mouth do? Like all of a sudden that's going through my head.
He has no teeth. Or does he have teeth? I think he has teeth.
He does have teeth and they're big hippo teeth.
Yeah, oh well,
Big beer can.
But there's a lot of space between those teeth. You know, so,
And I don't
so you
think-
guys should be okay.
And I don't think he has a lot. You're correct. And I don't think he has a lot of good hygiene in there.
Who needs it?
You're gonna have to use a condom.
But I've seen what he can do with it. I've seen what he can do with a Snickers bar.
And
so.
doesn't he have sex with Finn Wolfhard in the new Ghostbusters movie? Or he gets
I don't
slimed.
remember.
I think that kid gets slimed.
Was that the one that went to the theaters, or was that just the one you watch in the
no,
bathroom?
the new one. The new Ghostbusters.
Frozen thing.
I don't recall
Whatever
Slimer getting any action.
Oh, I thought that kid, because the whole Ghostbusters has now just become Stranger Things. Right? It's Stranger Things, and then Paul Rudd's flopping around in there, and then you got Bill Murray, and then you got Ernie. Ernie Hudson on that tee.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Ernie
God.
Hudson
Have you
is
seen?
he's bigger than he's ever.
Yeah.
He's ginormous.
He's
He's also 89 years old. And he looks younger than both of us.
Yeah. He's on the Dr. Dre diet.
That dude looks amazing. Ernie Hudson.
That is insane that there's a human
That's good genetics.
that has not changed in 35, 40
His
years.
hair still has the same wave in it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. And
That's called a lace front. I don't
It
think
was
that's
whatever. It's like, I'll get it done tomorrow. It's good.
Well, what is it? A hair transplant?
Yeah, well, a lace front is kind of like a wig-ish type thing, you know
Give
what I'm
me the
saying?
lace
But
front.
hey, look, black don't crack. We already
does.
know
But
that.
do they
We
take
sell
it from the back and put it in the front like white
for a
people?
lace front is more like a weave for a man.
You never
know
go
what I'm
back to
saying?
front. That's how you get a
Oh,
unit.
no, but is it glue on or is it?
Yeah, it's glued. I'm not saying, look, Ernie, don't visit me in the middle of the night as a ghost.
Oh, as
I'm
a
not, you know what I'm saying?
He's not going to hurt you.
Well, hey, if you do, just don't reveal who you are. But yeah, I don't know if that is or not, but I know a lot of us in our community, you don't like to show our actual rescinding. So
Vanity.
We'll put a little lace front right there real quick to make it look real.
I would do it.
I think that might be
I've
what it
always
is.
said I'd do it. If
I
I
don't know.
needed hair, I'll get the.
You would do the plugs thing? You would,
100%.
for real? You
Yeah.
would
Well,
just-
Dude,
just
now
dig
they
it
got
in?
it good.
Yeah, it's
man.
so good now. It's so good now.
I mean, Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Like have you
Yeah.
seen how good Steve?
And a lot
Carell-
of professional sports guys get it, and you don't even notice they get it. Wayne Rooney got it done.
except for LeBron.
Yeah,
Why
LeBron.
didn't he get it?
too big.
Did he get it?
No, I think he's too big. I've wrangled that in my mind, and I think sometimes you can be like.
He let it go too far.
He did,
because then he can't go
if
back.
If he'd gotten it younger before, like I think everybody, like when
You get it when you start it.
before you're the GOAT, right? Before you pull your car
I
to
think
the
there's
GOAT
something
parking
respectable
space.
about letting your hair do its
I agree.
do the life thing. But I also one of the most curious names of when it comes to hair is Jamie Foxx, who I consider to be like the most talented comedian ever, just because he won an Academy Award, he has a CD out. But he used to get made fun of because he used to say he had a 5 head, like he had like a hairline that started way up here, but now it like comes like right to like his eyebrows. We can never really determine like where his actual hairline is.
And where is he now? Because I
he's
see
doing
those
commercials.
and then
Yeah.
I'm like, those are old, aren't they?
What happened? Do you know what happened to him?
Oh
Because-
yeah, Tom Cruise. He took his lady. It's been downhill ever since. You don't mess with Scientology.
Yeah, you put a poison BB in his.
Yeah.
his
You
martini.
can't mess with God of Thunder, bro.
Was it a stroke? Because that's what
Yeah.
Mike Tyson like alluded to.
Yeah, that's
and
what Mike alluded
and that's
to.
the only real information that I've seen, at least on Facebook or whatever. It's like Mike Tyson reveals what Jamie Foxx went through, and
I
he.
bet Jamie was mad too. It sounds like Jamie likes to keep that close to the vest.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not real big on talking about other people's like, HIPAA and whatnot. I mean, that's
Shoot,
your
man.
business.
I mean, look, man. He obviously had the funny thing was like those stories about him being cloned and he had a stroke
those were
and now
good,
he's
though.
cloned. And I love those things, man. It's like what for what? Like how are they going to clone this man right now? I just think it's interesting that he did a movie with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise paid him to be on his set, and he left with his wife. I can't get over that. Like Katie Holmes.
Yeah, but
They were together. This is Collateral. The movie was Collateral.
For a while.
And they kept it secret and all of that. And it's like, how do you just, I hire you to come and work with me, and you take my woman? Like, you don't recover. And it's not just any old body. We're not talking about, some random. We're talking about the god of Hollywood, basically. Like Scientology. You don't mess with that, man. So yeah, whatever karma he had, but he did get Spider-Man again. So maybe something.
Yeah, like so. What's like? Are we going to get him in a live action role again? He did that. What was that movie? He was good.
Project Pill or
No,
Pill?
the one. What was the one
with the Cowboys where
No, it was like a hood based.
like with him and Snoop, I think it was
maybe.
There was something like that.
Sam and I were talking about.
Did
I
a
can't
couple of
remember
them.
what it was, but it was like half like scary and also half serious. And then I was like, "Oh, is that a new role?" And then everybody's like, "No, he filmed that before he had his problem."
Okay,
like,
yeah.
something about Tyrone or
They cloned Tyrone. Was one of them. Yeah,
that
and then
was
there
the one I'm talking about. And are we going to get him live action again? Is he okay?
I mean, let me call him and see what he says. I don't know.
Yeah, I think about it all the time though, because I do agree with you. He's certainly one of the most talented. Doesn't matter what category you put him
humans that we know.
That's
Dude,
well said.
Have you heard Jamie
Humans.
Foxx just do impressions?
Some of the best.
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
world.
He's an insanely good impressionist.
Some of the best in the world. Can
Like-
sing serious, heartfelt piano ballads.
Yeah.
Can play multiple instruments. Can drum. Can sing. Can sing and do impression singing.
Yeah.
Like,
Act.
yes.
He's a crazy talent.
And nobody steals a woman like Jamie Foxx. When it comes down to it.
Could you imagine Katie Holmes going from Tom Cruise to Django? I've seen it hanging upside down. That wasn't a stunt, but that was him, right?
That was him.
Yeah. We didn't even know what it was.
That was him.
Yeah, I
You know,
don't even
that's-
understand.
You want a fun fact? That is
I
my
was like, what is
daughter's-
that? I
That's
was like,
my
oh my God.
That's my daughter's screensaver on her iPad. It was weird. I had to turn that off. I was like, "Where'd you get this?" Like
my
mommy's
God.
iPhone.
Yo, oh my God. I just can't think about it like going from the dude from Top Gun to the dude from Django and Jane. Oh my God.
But they're both crazy, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely
I mean, I think they're both
crazy.
nuts.
Different kinds. Different kinds.
Yeah,
of crazy.
different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's plug some stuff, man. You got
Heck yeah, man.
any places you're going to be
Oh,
anytime
yeah. Thanks, man.
soon that our friends can go and support you and see
If you're out in the St. Cloud area, I'll be at Porky's next Friday and Saturday.
Dig it.
I'll also be with these two gentlemen in May, of course, at the Ritz Theater. Looking forward to that with some of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
I want to send a quick plug to a good friend of mine, Christy B., who just opened up her own club in Palm Coast. I had the ability, me and a couple other, James Yan and Miguel,
Nice.
we had a chance to do her opening night this weekend, and it's a phenomenal club. So if you're in the Palm Coast area, definitely just look up Christy B Comedy Club.
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah, and I honestly think y'all should talk to Christy B. Like, she's coming up in her own lane. But
Man,
yeah,
owning your own comedy club's got to be hard and exciting.
yeah.
You know, we were just talking about how it seems like there are other comedy clubs because we grew up in a time, 10 years ago where there was just the Improv. Now it's a Funny Bone,
Yeah.
and really that was it. And then I
Pretty
remember
much.
like Ross, like, hey, we could do comedy in other places, and he was like doing it at bars,
Yeah.
but it was always hard because like you get half
To
the
bring
people.
your
like-
own PA.
Yeah, and then
people wouldn't be polite.
Yeah, and then it's like there's nothing like having a just exclusive comedy club that
Absolutely.
people are there to see comedy, but it seemed like
It sets the
Yeah.
tone. You need the tone set by like it's almost got to be
I don't know-
written so people read it as they walk in. It's like,
Yeah.
shut the hell up.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
on a comedy show. Be respectful.
So have you seen like an emergence of like individual
Absolutely.
comedy clubs?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, because when I first came into the game, Bonkers Comedy was like the big hit. If you could get in one of these Bonkers comedy rooms, then you made it. But now that hasn't.
It was
they've
all a
moved off.
franchise like Bonkers, Funny Bone, Improv.
Yeah, all of those big names. But then we realized, why do we have to do these just for the people that hire us? We can do this on our own. Now, you'd end up at a coffee shop somewhere, or you got like a bar where some dude's breaking up with his girl, in public, and you're trying to like, hey, I'm trying to get this joke off. He's like, shut up, I didn't come. And they're trying to watch the game.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yes, now as a result, enough of my class, we're now establishing our own places and doing them the way we want. And Christy B's one of those folks. And myself as well. I may have some news to announce soon, but I won't do it today.
All right. Very cool, man. Well, let us know if you need any help because we love you and we'd love to help out.
It has to be that now, like, comedians have the way for social media to promote yourself and
Yes.
promote where you're going to be at. Like, you got 27,000 people on your Instagram.
thank you.
But I'm saying that's a big number. And
Yeah.
now you could be like, hey, come see me at this club.
Yeah.
Like with social media and the internet, everybody can promote themselves. So, like, medium-sized comedians can then use their following to push
He's
people
6'2".
I'm 6'2", and invisible.
You got a following.
I'm like a schmedium.
You're an undersmedium.
Well, height-wise, he's correct.
Yeah, and all of my followers are like at the border anyway. Like, I don't actually have followers like that are in Orlando. Like most of them are just just international. Because when you hit that viral video, they start following from everywhere. I wish I had a consolidated following right here in Orlando, which is why I'm here. So follow me if you're here in Orlando.
I never thought about that. That's true.
Yeah.
If you're putting content out there all the time and you're pulling from everywhere,
Yeah,
then you
man.
just almost get circled
Yeah.
by the world. But you could be sitting in the middle. I never thought about that.
It is weird. Like if you have 5,000 followers in Australia,
Yeah.
it's like I can't really do anything with that.
That's the problem.
You got to go to Australia.
But then
Melbourne,
Australia's a huge. But it's like that's spread across the entire
God.
country. So then you're like, me and Daniel said that for years. If our podcast just had the numbers that we do now, but they were spread across the world, we could not make a living. And
Right.
it's because
So don't move.
'cause
Stay
the-
right here.
because everybody's the majority, not everybody, because we do have listeners across the world, but the majority are in Central Florida, and that's really the difference between
That is.
making a living and not.
Literally.
And
it is.
and it's crazy how much that makes a difference. And it seems like that's where everybody's kind of moving to, realizing like everything's becoming more and more local, and it's like, all right, I need followers here because that
But
way I can have local
though,
sponsors.
Like when people
local-
say local, though, typically you used to say like that's rinky dink.
Yeah. They were going
And it's
backwards
not.
because it started
it's
off
not that way now. It's like everything's flipped upside down. I mean, you can have people that are local that are putting in as much time or possibly more than even massive production companies are putting in.
Well, the word podcast used to be rinky dink.
Yeah,
that used to be the nothing.
Now it's just gay.
Thank you very much. By the way, check out my podcast, New Blurred Order, on the weekend.
Yeah, it's a good show. Check it out.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, but now it's like the biggest celebrities in the world have a podcast, and like if they were on terrestrial radio, people would be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey's on some local Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right.
They'd be like, "What are you doing?"
You may not even know who it is because you didn't seek it out.
Yeah. You don't want to see Joe Rogan on PBS.
You would be like, "What the hell is he doing? Why
It
is
would
he
be
doing
funny to
this?"
see him on there with like an antique, right? Like standing in line and just waiting.
Well, I have like what's entered my algorithm. I know we got to go, but the Antiques Roadshow has entered my TikTok algorithm.
That's me.
And, like, is that because we're
affecting your algorithm?
You infected.
I just love that. I love it. There's nothing I love more than when the people get there and then they realize that what they have is worth nothing.
They're cutting up old shows and putting clips of the best old shows on TikTok, and it's good. Because there's a lot of content that are just buried that are now being resurfaced through TikTok, and I like having a little bit because the Antiques Roadshow, I'd never watched that, but I'd watch little clips of the best ones.
Oh, it's a good show.
Of some granny bringing in a rug that's worth $10 million or whatever. Or
I like it when they're like, get the hell out of here, granny. It's a worthless rug.
Before we go, since we're talking about old shows, did you all ever hear of a show called Lizard Lick Toe?
Lizard
Lick Toe. Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Lizard Lick Toe.
Yes,
it was a
two
towing
brothers.
company.
Yes,
and they'd fake
like scenarios, but he had to go repost stuff.
Yes, it's one of my favorite shows.
I need that to resurface.
Well, you phrased it wrong. It's Lizard Lick Toe.
No, not Lizard Lick Toe. Like you. Tommy.
No. You phrased it like Lizard Lick Toe, but it's Lizard Lick Toe.
Yeah, Lizard Lick Towing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so there were these like two brothers, and then they would fight. They'd always get it. And then they'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna go around the back and get in the car," and then the guy would get in the car. He's like, "Oh God, go!"
Yes.
And then
but it's all fake.
It's all fake.
It's so fake, but it's so fun. You got it.
And then they have like the sassy reception.
Right.
Yeah, man.
They putting clips of bad shows on TikTok, which is great too, because these shows would never ever be seen again. But now they resurface, especially during the height of reality, which they were putting out so much garbage.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, they were trying to like find that stuff and put it back out there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
man.
hey, thanks so much for coming in, man.
Nah, thank y'all for having
we
me.
appreciate
Always,
it.
man.
Vince Taylor, everybody.
Follow him on social.
Follow me.
The real Vince Taylor.
The real Vince Taylor.
Yeah.
There you go.
And get some tickets for our show coming up in May 31st. He'll be there. All right.
And we will be right back.
Yep.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Couple things. If you're a BDM, we've got the BDM appreciation pool party luau going on April 20th.
It's throwing us a little bit because we've never thrown a luau.
Yeah.
We've also never thrown this much money at entertainment before. Normally, we've kind of relied on our goof troop and like us and different people to kind of provide some entertainment. This time we are doing what can only be described as a Polynesian extravaganza.
Well, we did the wrestling with our 9-year.
Yeah. But wrestling, downtown Orlando wrestling, it's all fighting down there now.
What was it? The two drummers.
The mood designers. And it was one drummer and a DJ. Wow, you really pay attention to the stuff we do. And we'll never be able to book those guys again because of that. Great job. No,
they don't listen. They didn't listen back then.
They don't listen now.
Yeah. Anyway, so we want to do some weird job?
Yeah, let's do some weird job. You want the old song or the new one? I got a new one.
Let's do
it. Let's do the new one. It's not going to have video, so it's going to be weird. You have to sit and stare at it, and you have to pretend like you like the song. Here's the new one. Let's do it. I'm in my synth, like, kind of a vibe. It's 1989 right here, buddy.
Big fat slob needs a job. Weeks have 5 days. Wednesday is one of them. You sit up in your tower of splendor while we tell you we work. We're really on our phones. All ever wanted, all ever needed is here. My slam house. Jobs are very unnecessary. necessary. We are only fat slobs.
We're all just fat slobs, Tom. That's a live. I did a little live there, too. That's a new thing I'm going to start adding where I go live with sound effects and dancing.
Yeah. A lot of work for such a small thing.
Yeah. 58 seconds. 58 seconds of nothing.
Yeah. I heard you working on that the other morning.
Hours. Mixing it,
I'm like,
tuning it, making it sound like the original.
I'm like, this guy doesn't have to do this, but he's driven. I like that. Just like Maisie. You got a little bit of Maisie in you.
A little bit of Maisie. Take that, AI. Take that.
So we've got Mike Rooney with us on Zoom. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing okay.
He may not
I
have...
love imagining Dan being across from you, just you're doing your taxes or whatever, and he's just...
What you missed, too, is while I was dancing...
How dare you, by the way?
While I was dancing, Mike, what you missed is that my feet don't touch the ground. So I'm kicking my feet like a baby in my chair in here while I'm dancing the music.
Most of my time is spent adding attachments to my emails.
You really want to tell that story?
And then I call Daniel in, and I'm like, my damn attachment paperclip doesn't work.
He goes, my paperclip doesn't work. So then what he does is he takes his browser. Mike, you're familiar with browsers. Most of our audience is. And he takes his browser and he moves it all the way down to the bottom of the computer, hiding it in the non-space. The nothingness.
Well, how do you get it out of the way?
And then he takes the file that he needs and he gets it to a position where he can grab it. And then he slides his browser back up. And then he tries to grab it. And his hands, like your hands are, you might as well have no hands. Your hands don't work.
And then for whatever reason, I have to restart my computer. It takes forever.
Because you have 90 windows open. Every day it's 90 windows.
Can't they make a computer
unlimited windows
that just works for idiots or old men that
no, but there's
I can put as many windows I can operate. They got supercomputers.
Then buy one, Mr. Cheapskate. I mean, I can't even buy you a new computer.
Anyway, sorry, Mike.
Welcome to the show, Mike.
What do you do for your living?
Almost the same thing as you guys. A little different. I work primarily I'm producer on a bunch of shows. We started with true crime, but I'm a podcast producer, which means a million things. I'll be out in the field getting audio. I'll edit at home. I'll edit in the office, and I'm a voice on a couple things we do. Kind of a third mic role, but yeah, producer. Booking talent, doing all that stuff. But we started with true crime. So
you do how many shows? If you had to I know it's probably you get pulled in a lot of directions. If you had to give us a number, how many shows would you say you probably work on?
Me personally, we have I think over 20 shows. I have lost count. I have no idea how many we have now. I work on Up and Vanish, Dead and Gone, High Strange, Talking to Death, 5, 6, maybe somewhere around there.
And I think a lot of people will be surprised because to a lot of people, especially locally, you and I, Tom, may have been one of their first podcasts they listened to. And it probably blows their mind knowing that most podcasts, other than ours, put, pun intended, hours of time and research and have multiple people that do it. It's not just two guys trying to pull things out of their rectum.
Well, he's working for a company that has a bunch of podcasts under their umbrella.
And multiple producers and stuff, right?
Yeah. So what's the actual company that is it one company that basically has all these different podcasts underneath their umbrella of business, or how does it work?
Yeah, so kind of like what you were saying, Dan, I grew up listening to you guys. I just want to get this out of the way, get the flowers out of the way.
Right.
I grew up listening to you guys. My parents had 104.1 on the radio station all the time. Drew Garabo, Jim Phillips, SBK, you guys, this is what I wanted to do, is do what you guys do, or at least be third mic or
and
help
you're
out.
Doing it, though. So, I don't think this is important to, is this one of one? Since we've been doing this bit, where the guy who said I wanted to do this got to do it, it's very rare we get those guys.
Yeah, I mean, from start, although...
Because I'm one of those guys, too, and you probably know that as a little kid, I said I wanted to be a voice on the radio, and I'm a voice on the... Right, so I completely get that. When did you start listening to us?
Oh, man. I was way too young. I was, I don't know,
Gotcha, yeah.
6th grade, 5th grade, something
Oh,
like
God, that's terrible.
So what was your journey? Because obviously this job as podcast producer didn't exist. I mean, God, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So what did you go through terrestrial radio or some other mainstream media?
No, yeah. So I was originally going for film, and that's what I really want to do. You know, I grew up, I 4 years of theater in high school, and I wanted to entertain people, music, film, TV, whatever, a radio, any way I could, because I just think it's like one of those things that won't go away. You know, people always want entertainment, even in the worst times. This guy who started this company, he actually had it's the name of the company is Tenderfoot TV, and he started Up and Vanished, and it basically went viral. It was about a missing person. And I used to work with him back in the day on music videos. I worked in camera, and I would like pull focus, basically keeping, you know, the films in focus or the music videos in focus. Gotcha. He was a music video director first, and he was like, I'm going to do a documentary, and then it turned into like doing a podcast because audio is just way cheaper than filming stuff.
Yeah.
So his podcast blew up. It went viral. You know, he kept working on that, and eventually, I think like 3 or 4 years into it, his business partner hit me up to edit some video. And I came in, and while I was working on a sizzle reel, he was like, hey, my other friend who owns, they both co-own the company. He came in and he's like, hey, do you want to learn how to cut podcasts? And I was like, this is like, I can't believe this is happening. Yeah, of course I want to work on podcasts. And I've been working with them for about 5-7 years, something like that.
Wow, yeah, that's a long time, man. So you guys actually, that's pretty early on, even before like what I would say the perceived boom that, I know everybody likes to say it happened during the pandemic, which is sort of unfortunate for a lot of people that were podcasting before that, but to a lot of people that is when it exploded.
So he was inspired by Serial. So I think that was 2015, 2016.
Sure.
And he did his shortly after that.
Right on.
So, Mike, I have a question for you because we're familiar with the producer role. Me and
it can
Daniel
mean different
both.
things, though. You know, like
it is
in the 90s, it meant you were probably going to get your balls tased.
it is
like seriously, like that. It was a different thing.
It's kind of a catch-all term that really can encompass a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
But I've got a more specific question, and I'm curious to get your opinion on it. Do you think a producer is better off being a fan of the show they're producing? Like, by fan, I mean would have listened to the show before they're a producer and then enjoy listening to the show and would listen to the show on their off time? Or do you think a producer's better to have, you know, some knowledge of the show, obviously not hate the show they're producing? I think that's, obviously not a good thing.
I mean, you'll get there. But we all get there. You know, that's just, that's what happens.
But basically produce a show that, you know, they have respect for, but they're not into the content. Like, let's say they wouldn't listen to it on their off time, like they're not a fan, but they still are professional. They produce the show. They respect the show.
Just a job for me. I'll leave it at the office.
Because it's curious, because you would think like off the, you know, immediately it'd be better off for the producer to be a fan of the show, but I think there's some downfalls to that.
You got to like performing though, because there's a part of me where if you enjoy the performance of it, you've convinced yourself you can work with anybody.
Well, there's a lot of producers that don't talk on the show.
Right.
You know, like, and that's all, you know,
absolutely.
You know, so podcasts are a little bit different because there's usually a smaller staff, but in radio, there's, I mean, you know, it's been going on for years where the producer would never really even go on the mic, maybe once every blue moon, but, you know, would basically be off there. What do you think, Mike?
I think there's good and bad to either one. If you're a huge fan, you're obviously going to be passionate about your work, but there's also that line where it's like you're too big of a fan and you're like, it's this weird having you in the office. We're an independent company, so we're not, you know, we're not like under Spotify or anything like that, but we have had, in the beginning, we were like, we're not hiring fans. We've since hired some people that are fans, and it's worked out. I think a good producer is a good producer. I think it doesn't matter if they're a fan or not, so.
Just next producer we hire, I want him to be gay for us.
That's the best.
Yeah,
because they'll do anything.
Yeah, anything.
Including, you know.
Well, that's the best. You know.
But it fades in time, though. Once they see how the sausage is made, they're like, you know what? I don't like these people.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said sausage. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. A lot of times too, it could ruin it. Where you, this happened to me, by the way. I don't know, where you listen to a show on the radio,
And then you work for me, and you realize what of a jerk I was. I'm like, get my turkey bagel and hot sauce, you mother effer.
and then you're like, I want to be a part of the show. I love listening to it, and then all of a sudden,
I'm TC Van. I think I can help out the show.
and then next thing
with
you
my
know,
stunts and my humor.
you're like years have passed, and all of a sudden you're a member of the show that you once had dreamed
And you
about
look in
being
the
a member.
mirror, you hate it. You look every line in every face. It's just nothing but anger in your face.
And then you're like, this ain't that good. And you're like, it ruined for you listening to it ever in the future.
And it made you racist.
Because now you're on the show.
And it made you a bad husband.
And then you can't listen to yourself. People that can listen to themselves on
And
shows.
the only way to fix it is just to go out and kill a homeless person. Because you need
It's a
something
weird
to make
thing.
yourself feel again.
So what would you say, Mike, is your like day-to-day activities as a podcast producer?
I mean, 90% is editing. That's the most time-consuming part of it. So I'm constantly cutting audio. Right now, I'm working on like season outlines for the next drop of Vanished. We kind of did like a mid-season break type of thing. 8 episodes just finished, and 8 episodes are coming out in June. And yeah, most of it's editing. Like almost all of it's editing, which can just drain you. So it's really nice to every once in a while I get to be on a show. Like we have some roundtable style shows. What's funny is we're trying to do what you guys do, and I'd much rather do what you guys do. Like I'd rather just talk on a mic and put it out raw. Like I'm sure you do some editing, but
no editing. We don't do it. We let AI. We let AI do everything now.
Yeah.
I've given up. I've let AI do everything. They do all of the pictures. I let them edit the show, and then I let my car drive me home.
And this is a thing that happens to me a lot, where the grass
Are
is
you going
greener.
to tell him about editing? The man that can't put an attachment on his
I can edit. I've done Pro Tools before.
We don't even use Pro Tools here.
I used to edit back in the radio days. I was fast.
Pro Tools, that's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We're Logic Boys now.
I can fade it down and put it together.
Fade it down.
Editing is
Fade
not
it down.
that hard. A lot of editors.
He likes to say that. He likes to say that because he hasn't touched it in years, like every other fat radio host just sitting on his ass.
A lot of editors like to
overblow it. That's true.
Yeah,
we like to make it bigger. It's somewhere in the middle.
Stand on their pedestal and be like, I'm an editor. I'm the great controller of what goes on.
Because we can't stand on pedestals.
And then
fat host over there can't even put an attachment on an email.
And
it wasn't even something for business. It was just a racist joke he wanted to forward to his pop-ups friends.
If I needed to, I could get back in Pro Tools again. And I'm as good once as I ever wanted.
2 weeks?
Not even 2 weeks. I can do it now. I can do it now. I can edit together the show if I needed to. If you died right now,
apocalypse.
I have to go in some YouTube videos.
That is true. Any child can teach you how to do anything on YouTube.
that is you can learn literally anything. Anyway, so
what's the hardest? What would you say is the hardest part of what you do? Is it the organizational aspect of, like you just mentioned, putting together an outline? I mean, to me, that sounds daunting and like so many little moving parts. Are you getting in, like for one show, hundreds of pieces of audio? How many edits would you say you're making?
Yeah, and we do it in more of a cinematic style.
Gotcha.
So we're really cutting it more like a short film, where we're taking an hour interview and cutting it into like the most interesting 4 to 8 minute segment where this person sounds perfect, right? And there's no, it's not even like question and answer style. It's just like as if they said it in one go,
sure.
And they say it perfectly. So that's extremely hard to do, I think. And just the outlines is something I haven't been doing for a super long time. And it's horrible. It's very daunting. I don't like doing it. It's definitely one of the hardest things. Luckily, the guy I work under is much better at like zooming out and seeing the big picture of where the season's going to go. That's not how my brain works, but I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, like new workflows is, I think, the hardest thing. And even here, like with personnel changes around here, me and Tom having to learn like just a new way of doing things. It seems as you get older, no matter what it is, it's difficult, because it's just your brain. I think your brain naturally wants to reject those things,
This is something not that many people talk about, but the hardest part of a producer's job is dealing with the crazy on-air talent. And because, I don't know, in your case, obviously, you can't talk openly.
I looked at all the people on the website. They all look pretty normal. They look like normal people.
Well, everybody looks normal until you're sitting in a room with them, listening to them talk, and especially on the breaks.
When they're being themselves. Their true self comes out.
And then you realize, you're like, oh, it makes sense that they're crazy. The crazy people are drawn to entertainment. And it takes a little,
we want people to hear our crazy thoughts.
It takes a real narcissist to do, to believe wholeheartedly that other people want to listen to what you have to say.
I want you to hear my crazy thoughts.
You're like, people need to hear this. You know how crazy that is? Like, no one needs to hear nothing. So then you have to deal with that, and there's politics involved. You have to play nice a lot of times. Even though some producers don't necessarily like the people that of the show they're producing.
But that's not your job. You're not there to like people.
Your job is to make it sound good.
I've done this for Ed. I'm not saying I didn't like Ed, but we weren't great friends. And when I produced Ed Till, I just produced it as a job, and I tried to do my best job, and then he would fly off the handle and yell at me crazy, and I'd just be like, all right, well, that's just what happens.
And you see this in radio a lot. A podcast is not that old enough to be. There are a lot.
Also, podcasts are weaker than radio people, though. If they had a fight, who's tougher? If it were podcast producers versus radio producers, the big fat radio producers, I'm sorry, Mike, but the big fat radio producers would kick your ass. They would kill you. They'd all have no sleeves. They've all been tased. Their balls are tased shut. They're everything on them rode hard and beat up.
They've also done
all these guys named Fart and Flipper and Booger, and they beat the hell out of you because you guys are weak. You've never been bullied.
You've never rolled in mousetraps.
You've never
hazing.
You've never had to
sexually harassed.
I mean, if you were in here, first thing I'd get you to do is eat my vomit out of the trash. That's the first thing you would do. I'd puke in the trash as gag man. I'd be, you eat that up, Mike. You eat it up good, like a good little pig. You good little pig that you are. You'd be walking around in lingerie. I'd be slapping your ass. Eat the vomit, pig.
If you were a 90s radio producer, you're the toughest of them all.
I'm not saying they're good humans. Again, let's just call this what it is. I'm just saying in a battle royale against producers, you're top tier New York City, low level shock jock producers. Tough.
The weakest NPR producer. I'm sorry, NPR.
They're weak. And then you're somewhere in the middle like that.
That lady with the old voice didn't make you eat her vomit.
I'm dying.
You didn't have to go through any. You didn't see the atrocities.
No, my God, they're always doing. Never mind. I'm not going to say that joke.
Did you have to do any get the hot sauce? Did you see any atrocity?
No. Back in the music video days, for sure. Yeah, I started as a production assistant, so you're kind of doing.
Well, if you're on a hip hop set, I know. Oh, that'd be bad.
You weren't sexually harassed, or
oh my God, did you sleep with Diddy?
No, not yet.
That's a thing now. I feel like
did you ever intern at all?
No, sort of for you guys.
Really? Hold on.
We'll cut this out. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that blatantly.
I interned for you, Tom, for 9 months. And I'm like, oh my God.
When Daniel left, I slept on your couch. I was living at your house.
It's the biggest insult.
I've seen so many times. I've interacted with you multiple times. I ate dinner with your children.
That is a huge insult. I didn't realize it. When you know someone and you've worked as their intern.
Did you realize Tom cares so little about it?
It's not even that. I just distracted. I meet a lot of people.
It's not that.
You're also a white dude, and all white people look the same. I can't tell you apart.
Yeah, you're so pink.
No. So it was one day. I was going to Full Sail, and I had my little DSLR, and I was like, "Hey, Dan, can I come in and film you guys? I'm gonna try and make a documentary."
I do remember that. Yeah, and people still go back.
Remember that?
I do, because people still go back and watch the documentary on YouTube. Right? It was on there for a minute.
It's not that documentary.
Oh, there's one on there. There's one on there.
He didn't remember.
Well, I thought I was remembering. How many documentaries do you have on the internet about you? You have one, actually. You have one or two.
I lost the footage though, and I felt really bad about it.
Oh, well, don't. I mean, like, at that point in time, it's funny because at that point in time, I thought what I was doing was significant. It's only now that I realize how insignificant all of this is.
So I came in and filmed you guys, and then Dan kept asking me about. He's like, "Hey, I want to see how we look." You know, how it came out. I was like, "Dude, that hard drive. I'm sorry. I don't even know if I look back, I probably didn't respond to your email because I felt so bad because I lost the hard drive."
So
like,
what I said was true. You're not tough like a radio producer. You're a pussy like a podcast producer. I knew it. I'm joking.
100%.
Was it in here or the radio days?
Would have been radio.
Oh.
No. Oh no! It was a different studio, but it wasn't your house studio. It was the second one.
Oh well, it was the one downstairs. Like it was like with the orange couch.
Yeah, it was in Baldwin Park.
That was
I don't
Studio
think it's
2.
in that one.
Yeah, that wasn't my house. That was Studio 2.
Yeah, it just didn't look like the first studio really looked like Daniel's house. Like it was just a bedroom.
Well, the house was like 1950s house with wood floors. You know.
Yeah, our second studio did look. Similar to
The
this.
second studio looked like a studio. This looks like a house again. We went back to making it look like a house.
So Mike, what do you want to eventually be just exclusively on air and like personality driven show
With like no editing?
where you're one of the hosts, or are you content with being a producer for the rest of your career?
I think the perfect is the third mic role, like the Ross or the Sam, or like where if you're not editing, which that never happens. If you're the third mic, you're usually editing. or doing
Sam
something.
edited. Ross probably the only third mic that it didn't edit, but he edits his own show now, I think, or he has a producer for it.
You know, you bring up a good point. Me and Daniel, I've often talked about, like, you know, second or third mic is a sweet gig.
It's a great gig.
Because
I've always been a big fan of editing. They say I love editing. So it's hard for me to get rid of editing. Like, I enjoy it. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I enjoy it. To me, it's like a video game.
But also, you don't have the the pressure of what the host has, or like, you know, you're just along for the ride and sprinkle in your comments or jokes.
Nice. The host says something racist, and you're like, "Wasn't me."
Yeah. You can always distance yourself and be like, "I knew he was racist the whole time."
Yeah, I knew it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Then I'll be the host, and I'll be racist."
But inevitably, the second or third mic wants to be the host. But then when they actually become the host,
it sucks all the life out of it.
Then they're like, "Oh God,
it's not as fun."
Yeah, I told Jim Goldberg this. I was like, "Be careful what you ask for, buddy, because you may have a sweeter gig. You're just playing guitar, making fun of the host, and he has to worry about it. His name, or whatever."
There was a sweet spot where I didn't care, where I would just come in there and collect a fat check. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a real best. Although it doesn't exist anymore.
So you're looking for that third mic spot. Are you and you currently have it on some shows then, right?
Yeah, on some shows. Honestly, the main thing I want, and not to bring the show down, but like true crime, I think we have like super morbid humor around the office, or most of us that work on like Up and Vanished, because just cutting like the victim, the person who went missing, sister and mom, and them crying for like 2 hours and going to visit them and like talk to them. It's a downer, and it sucks. Like, it's hard to motivate yourself to actually cut that stuff. Cutting stuff, like we did a UFO podcast called High Strange. Cutting that is amazing. I'll edit that all day long. It's 8 days a week, whatever. So working away from true crime would be like top, but unfortunately, like our biggest show is Up and Vanished, and that's the moneymaker. So we got to keep that going for sure.
What an honest
it's
answer.
Such a drain.
That's an honest answer in that, because
people
my wife,
don't think about that.
Well, Andrea, when she was working at Wesh, and she was, it was right in the middle of Casey Anthony.
Yeah.
And every day she'd have to write a new story about a kid going missing and dead. Yeah. And it just sucked the life out of her. And she, like, you remember, that was her dream job. Like, working in that, like, she's like, "Oh, this is amazing." Until she got that one story that I think it sucked the life out of the news job for her. She loved that job. I think if you asked her right now, she's like, "Oh, I loved it." But you have one high-profile Orlando murder case, and it just, like, it killed her. It ruined the whole thing for her. I see your point. That has got to be draining, and these are real people with real missing people, and you're sitting there. Are you on site when that's happening, or are you just editing what they've sent you?
Oh no, I'm there. I'm there for all of Up and Vanished. I'm like the host's main right hand guy.
That's
so
hard.
I'm there for all of it.
Yeah, that is hard.
Yeah, because you're doing an entertainment show, but it's about real life people that are going through the worst nightmare.
It's the thing. It's my greatest
travesty,
nightmare.
of their lives that is so horrible, and then you're cutting this into which you're helping
then you gotta
them.
get up and go grab a Nutter Butter and take a pee and then come back and edit a little more. No, I'm serious. Like it's hard to do normal. It sucks the life out of you, man.
I wonder about. I just thought about this. You're editing together like someone's sister of a person that's gone missing, and you gotta, because you're as a producer, you have to edit together something that the listener wants to hear, but then you're cutting out things that she talked about because you're like, this is, I need to make it concise or whatever.
And you want it to sound natural.
But then they're going to listen, so then you feel bad, like I'm cutting this out.
That's why you couldn't do it. This is more for me.
Because the person is going to listen to it, and they're like, oh man, they cut out all this thing I wanted to put out there, but you have to make the decision, like it's not as entertaining as a show, Because
or it's redundant, or you're circle talking, or...
Yeah.
Well, it's a fine line. Obviously, like one thing we're looking out for is like we don't want this to be exploitative at all. It is entertainment, but at the same time, like you said, it's real people. I think most of the people though that we interview, even for radio rental, where they're just telling like a true scary story, those people don't remember what they said for the most part. No one's like taking note of like, oh, I talked about that and they didn't put it in there. Also, I think a lot of the victims' families don't listen. I wouldn't if it was about somebody I knew. And what makes it, I think, even harder sometimes is the host does investigative journalism, so he's like there confronting the person who may have done it, and I'm usually there in the car, like spinning out in the gravel driveway when he gets chased by a guy with a shovel or something like that.
Oh, my God.
Really?
That's a whole different...
So
that's way better than editing.
but also stressful.
No, that's
disagreed.
I like this. I take a toot of my toothpick. Let's roll. I get a gun. I get some bear mace, like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
No, that's too heavy. Like you have to wake up and then know that this host is going to be confronting some guy and accusing him of murder.
Excuse me, sir. Aren't you the murderer?
But this is a real person. How awkward is that?
A fake person.
No. But I'm just saying, like, this is not, you're doing entertainment, but it's real. You know what I'm saying?
You used to repo cars. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. Some guy can't pay his car payment, and someone's being accused of murder.
Yeah, have you had some of those that have been super spooky to you?
Yeah, I've had like probably 7 of them. It used to wreck me. I would have panic attacks. It's super high anxiety. Now I'm really good. Therapy helps. And yeah, now it kind of feels second nature. We just did one in Alaska for the latest version of Up and Vanished. We met this guy. He catfished him, got him in a bar. We were like, I was on the table over, secretly recording this guy with a lav and a little earpiece. Yeah, you get used to it because how I've rationalized it is like those guys who go, the news anchors who go knock on the, Casey Anthony's door and they're like, hey, can you talk to us? Nobody's going to shoot the camera guy, right? Like, that's not how that works.
I've always wanted to, though. When I see those shows, I'd shoot the camera guy. I always yell that.
Because the camera guy's the one that's going to show everybody.
I was like, I'll shoot him first so he can't see me killing and dismembering everybody else. I'm going to hack you good.
Yeah, the camera guy.
He's number one, right through the eyepiece, too, right in your brain. That's because it's more insulting that way if I get you through the eyepiece, through the lens.
Yeah, but you're right. You are.
I can see in your face today you're regretting doing a show with me, Tom.
you are a step back from actually talking to the person. You're just documenting it, although still heavy to have to deal with.
Can you describe the sketchiest one? Like, okay, so when that goes down, like, what could go wrong? Could the guy attack you? What do they do typically? Or like, give us one or two.
Yeah, I mean, one of the sketchiest one was probably in Dead and Gone. We went to this. It was in Oregon, like Southern Oregon, kind of the middle of nowhere. We found this like Pirate House. It was like the third address we were trying. We gave up at this point. We were about to
Pirate
drive back
House.
to
I thought they had ships.
Hold on, this is the plot for Goonies.
It's my wish, and I'm taking it back.
I know this.
No, if you saw the house, it's like on the outside was like this black flag, and it was like spray painted on it. Was like
No
it said, like,
murderers
stay
here.
out or something. Like it looked like, and it was like this dry prairie, right? So, and this, my business partner went up to knock on the door and ask if he was home, and then he looked over and he like saw him in the yard, and he had a shovel. He was like, "Oh," and the guy had long blonde hair, and it was the back of him. He was like, "Hey, excuse me, ma'am." And he turned around and he's like, "What's up?"
No,
and it was that
ma'am.
guy, and he recognized him, and he's like, "This is the suspect. Like, this is definitely." And he goes, "Hey, are you Bo?" And the guy like got immediately aggressive. And I'm in the driveway, and it was a gravel driveway. I'm in the car listening to his wireless microphone, and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, "What is going on?" And then he starts running towards me, and there's a guy chasing him with a shovel. And then the guy runs in the house, and I'm like, "Get in, get in, get in, get in." He gets in. We haul ass in this
Because he's going to
SUV.
go
He
get a
comes
gun,
out.
right? Like, that's what
That's
you do.
what I would think.
You throw your shovel down and you run in and get a gun.
He went in the house, and we thought he was getting a gun, but he came back out and he had like an old school phone
And
he
a
was,
guitar. He's
calling
like,
the
"I just
police
want
on
to
him.
play my music for you, please."
But it was terrifying, and I peeled out a gravel driveway.
But it's
and
cool
it was
that you
just
got to
me
do
and-
that.
Yeah, it was just me and him, and we should hire security. for
What do you guys
stuff
do
like
after that? Do you guys like head up to an Applebee's and you like high five? You get a couple of like big bloke beers or something? Like, what do? You got to do, right? Like, how do you calm yourself down after that?
Well, it's in the podcast, but we actually pulled over, which this was like this cute wine country spot of Oregon, like where it's all this like cute older people that are retired and drinking wine.
I could use some charcuterie.
Yeah, and we pulled over and we called him shaking the guy, or we called the guy who like initially reached out to us, like, "Hey, I think this guy did this back in the day, back in the 80s or whatever."
He just tried to kill us. Yeah. I think we found the murderer.
We're like, we found him, and we recorded that whole conversation. We're like, we think we found him. Like, we actually. Sorry, spoilers if you wanted to listen to Dead and Gone, but it's
the
towards
show
the end.
show is called Dead and Gone, so go and check it out. And we have a listener and a good friend of the show, Mike, who is you are like considered a executive producer, right? Or what's your title? You have a cool title.
Yeah, they do. It's like senior producer.
Senior.
I'm lead
Senior.
producer on a bunch of shows.
I'm senior host of the show. Tom's just a regular host.
Two things, Mike. One is, I don't know if you realize this, but you could fake a lot of this stuff. Like, back
But
in my
this is
day.
awesome. I loaded this up. Like,
No.
I went and subscribed while he was talking about this. I want to hear my friends get chased by crazy people.
Yeah, but you know what's easier than that? Pretending to get chased by crazy people. I
You used
learned
to
this
do
back in my radio days.
You were one of the kings.
I started realizing, I was like, wait a minute, I can fake all of this.
P.T.
A lot
Barnum over here,
videos, and no one knows or cares. They just listen to it, they laugh, they go to work.
Oh, he got chased again. Maybe by the murderer. Oh, well, gotta make the widgets.
And I was like, this is way easier than actually doing this stuff. And then...
Wait, you're going to ruin my childhood. You weren't actually in a bear costume every morning?
Oh, well, some of it was...
Honestly, in the beginning, he wore it a lot. I'm not going to let him ruin that one for you.
Yeah, I did the real stuff I did.
Ask me one and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Throw them out there. You got them right here. Tell me which ones do you want to know.
I faked the train. I never talked to the mayor of Eatonville or just some dude who was sitting on a stoop.
That was a great one, though, because that guy played along. That was one of the best improv guys of all time.
I did go to Eatonville wearing a bear suit and go talk to a bunch of dudes on a stoop in Eatonville.
But you said it was fine.
And asked them to pretend they were smoking weed. And then I was like sitting there. I gave them a bunch of Pizza Hut coupons.
Yeah, you said it was fine. You said it was better than being in the radio station.
yeah. Anyway, but there's a lot of other things. Yeah. So second, I'm curious to the amount of downloads some of these shows get, because some of these murder podcasts and stuff,
the biggest
get
form of entertainment in the world.
Insane downloads.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I know as a company, we've like advertised with Podcast Movement or whatever that like podcast convention is, Nerdfest. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just pissing people off.
No, I like it. You're being real.
One time we had brochures that we passed out that said like 250 million downloads. That was over all our shows. I think it's like double that.
I
now.
think you're
It
at
might even be
800.
more.
I looked at your website. I believe it's 800 million downloads collectively as a company. Congratulations. That's
Yeah,
like
thanks.
freaking awesome, dude. I mean, that just shows you how powerful. It also makes me feel like we got it right. Regardless of where this thing goes, it's kind of like playing poker. You know how you say when you play the right hand, and even though you get a bad beat or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like,
if it doesn't work
we
out.
knew it like in 09 when we started this. We're like, this is it. This is where it's going.
Well, it has to be because the internet is now enabled everybody to distribute their content, and then if everybody has a way to get that content, which they do now through their phone. I know sometimes bandwidth and people don't have unlimited data plans and stuff like that, but that's changing by the month, where it's becoming cheaper and cheaper to download whatever you want. So everybody's got this thing in their pocket. They have access to the world's entertainment, and it's up to them what they want to listen to. And and true crime podcasts, obviously with Serial and stuff, have blown up. And
Huge. Well, even our friends like Time Suck. I mean, that kind of goes in that vein. I mean, a lot of people want to hear about the crazier things that happen in real life with humans.
yeah, you're getting information, stories, like interesting murder mysteries.
Yeah.
And that will never really go away. There's an unlimited amount of them, right?
Yeah.
Like how?
Yeah, unfortunately, people are always doing crime, right?
Yeah.
It's not going
Have
away.
there been any, and I know we're going to run out of time here soon, but like, have there been any that you guys look at and you're like, we can't touch that? Or is there a line at all? Because it seems like people really, and I'm a big believer, and you can talk about really anything if you use the correct language, Has there been anything maybe you guys have shied away from?
I'm sure there has. Obviously, we try to find ones that are recent enough that they're possibly able to be solved. I know we had a short stint where we did an Oxygen TV show called Up and Vanished. That was it was cheeseball though.
Yeah.
They did it the Oxygen way of like true crime, but we did the investigative thing, and we did the Jennifer Hesse one, which is in Orlando.
Yeah,
that one's that one's just, I think that's unsolvable.
Yeah, it's tragic too, and the parents are so sweet. They're such nice people.
Yeah.
I've met them multiple times, and they're just
doing a
kind.
season on that would be like, I don't know what you could get out of it.
Right. You want to. That's a good point. You want to try and find something where whatever you guys are putting in could possibly help.
Yeah, how does that work? Where I've often thought about this, like even like when Sam does like you heard about this, or like if she's talking
Sign up
about
on our Patreon.
like a lot of these are unsolved, so you get to an ending, like you build this up as great story, and then there's really no finale to it.
Yeah.
So it's like you tell this great story and people are all into it, and then the end is like, no one knows, and it kind of it's
My
hard.
father hated those.
How is it trying to put that together? Where if the ending is unsolved, how do you finish that?
I think a lot of them we have a pretty good idea of who did it, or who we think did it, or how we can find out who did it. But some of them we don't know. And at the end, but Serial was like one of the biggest podcasts in the world, and it kind of ended with, I don't know.
Yeah,
he do
it did.
Did he not do it?
Yeah, but you could sway public opinion. So if the show's popular enough, are you worried about like falsely accusing someone of murder? Like the evidence points to this person, and you're like, it looks like this person, but
It wasn't the blonde guy with a shovel. It wasn't Bo.
Do you think in the back of your mind, like, what if I'm wrong? And now I've got potentially tens of thousands of people that
On to the
believe
next podcast.
that believe that this person's a murderer.
Yeah, that's heavy.
I mean, they kind of go through this with that, Steve Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building, about like Tina Fey's character is kind of like she doesn't have any morals, so she'll like accuse someone that she like thinks just for ratings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does that go through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, legally we have to not accuse anyone. We can't do that. We've had partner shows that have been brought to court or trial about and it was just a person being interviewed saying somebody did it, and it was like a slander thing. They lost the lawsuit, but we don't accuse anyone of anything. We kind of just play tape, and we're like, hey, we secretly recorded this guy, and he doesn't sound good. You judge for yourself. We're not saying he did anything. We're not saying anyone did anything.
How do you have to be real cognizant of state laws with recording people, like because there's lots of states.
They're good to go after the I think it was the Crank Yankers legislation of 04. I think was put into they allow, now everything's fine. You can do whatever you want because I believe it was Jose the puppet made that.
Luckily, Alaska is one party. So last season of Up and Vanished, we can secretly record people and it's fine.
Yeah, you just got to find the right state.
Yeah. Which is
That's about to be for everything, right?
yeah.
Find the right state. Hey, all right, we're good.
So, Mike, I guess my last question is: what can a podcast producer
It looks pretty comfy
in your industry? What do you think? The average salary is.
I think I know it's somewhere around like 30 or 40,000, which I think is absurd. I don't think anyone should be like. I don't know. I think it's tough because everything's going up in price. I'm sure a lot of people make a lot more than that. It also depends on like how long you've been at a place, but certain giant corporations are getting into it and they're like sinking. You've seen it, like hundreds of millions of dollars into hosts and into shows, and then they put out all these shows and they're like, oh, none of these are successful, now we'll fire everybody.
Yeah,
so it's a weird industry.
I'll give you a for instance. I did see I can kind of help answer this question.
Yeah,
I did see and you'll remember that you told me to sign up for it. There was one from one of the bigger companies, I think it may have been iHeart, was asking for a podcast producer, and I threw my hat in the ring just to see what it was, and they ended up that the starting salary was $37,000. So it never becomes really fully a full time. It's not. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, 37, used to be a full-time salary.
Right.
I only made 32 in radio.
37 though seems
salary.
like so. That does not seem like a lot of money.
No, but I guess a starting position,
right.
And you also, you have the motivation of people that want to get in the entertainment business, and so with that luxury, companies can pay less because people are motivated to want to get their foot in the door.
Do you worry at all because we see where technology is going? We see that streamers are using AI technology to capture and edit streams for them. Do you worry that podcasting will go the same way and that AI will eventually start editing?
I was telling Daniel about this. Like, I imagine in the future you'll do a show and AI will...
Oh, it's editing on the fly.
Edit on the fly, put together the whole show, and then give it to you after...
It'll be out 2 minutes after you're done.
And they'll take out all the breaths or dead spots, and then, like any mess up.
Do you use any AI? What's your thought on that, Mike?
I refuse to because it's the robots are taking over. We're all doomed. It's the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah. We knew it.
We're all doomed. The robots, Terminator is coming.
Yeah.
Like, it's no doubt.
I knew we were doomed when you started wearing shoes.
Although
I thought you were trying to impress the robots or something.
The beginning of the end is the best time.
It is because it's like
we should be lucky.
Party hardy. It's a party hardy.
Yeah. The middle of the end and the end is
the end. No, the end is the word right before the end. Right before the end when it's lights out. Who cares?
Yeah. Beginning of the end. I'll be there the whole time. I'm always in the beginning of the end.
I'm like, what? And then there's the end.
All right, Mike.
Mike, thank you so much, buddy. That was really, really good, man. We learned a lot today. We appreciate you, and keep up the good work, okay?
Yeah, pleasure talking to you guys. Love you guys.
All right, buddy. We love you too, man.
See you,
We'll
Mike.
Talk to you soon. Tom doesn't love you, by the way. You made him uncomfortable by saying that.
No, why would you say that? I don't even know him.
He said, I love you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm always the one that has to say we love you too. Why do I always have to say it?
He's just saying that as a nicety.
I don't think he was. He's been listening to us since he was in 5th grade. That's real love, man.
No. He likes to listen. He doesn't. There's no love there.
Okay. I think there's love there.
Bye. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Let's get our business out of the way because my wife is actually in our chat room. Super excited for this. A lot of people, other than my wife in the chat room, mega excited for this. Dare I say we have some alternative rock royalty on the line. Let's get our business out of the way.
I'll just plug that BDM Appreciation Week is next week. Yesterday we were sending out all the pre-order $5 BDM shirts.
Yep.
And we've got a BDM only party on April 20th. And you can still find out the details. If you're not a BDM, sign up. We're going to send out the last email, the details to every BDM on Monday. So if you sign up before then, you can still be invited to the party and have a chance to get the $5 shirt. And
TomandDan.com/registration.
So on the line with us right now, he's going to be at Cafe Da Vinci coming up on April 25th.
What a great venue to see this band. Pseudo new record out that I've been spinning this morning. And on the line with us right now is Jimmy Haha from the band Jimmy's Chicken Shack. What's going on, man?
Just chilling, man. How are you guys doing?
Really good. Hey, thanks so much for making the time for us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, Jimmy, I got a question for you because from reading about you, I read that you dropped out of school at 15, right? And
I got thrown out of school at 15.
Oh, expelled.
Hey, all right, that's way better.
You're
way
right.
Cooler.
Dropping out and being expelled is different.
He was not a quitter.
You're right. You were expelled at 15. And so, first, how'd you get expelled?
Oh, I got upset because a substitute teacher had given me a bunch of demerits because I got my work done early and was talking, and I had to do 2 detentions. So I threw my desk and ran out. I went out in the hallway and yelled a bunch of profanities. You know, it was a Catholic school, so they weren't too psyched. You know, I will say the one thing, though. I lucked out the next year. We had a different principal, and I hustled my way back in by using my skills of English.
Well, your intellect. Yeah, man, you're a smart guy. Yeah, you could probably talk your way into talk your way out of a lot of situations.
So
it's happened.
Yeah, I bet.
So, Jimmy, this is the question I wanted to ask you because, like, when you hear your story and you've seen your career and how you've built your career doing what you wanted to do.
You're an artist. Yeah, Tom and I kept saying artist, true artist.
And so, and I look at it like my sons are 8 and 9 years old, and I'm constantly worried about trying to give them some sort of advice about what they need to do, and and
help them find a path.
And obviously, and I'm thinking like Jimmy Haha got expelled at the age of 15, but look what he's been able to do, which is the quintessential cliche that we all hear of like if you do what you're really passionate about and like doing, you can make a career out of it, and
live your life doing the things that you care about.
But we hear that a lot, and it's a lot harder to actually achieve that, and
or sustain it. I mean, here you are talking to us. You got a show at Cafe Da Vinci. You've been doing this a very long time.
So what do you think? How do you think you did that? The cliche of doing what you were passionate about and making it your career.
Well, so that day I did get expelled was actually the first day I sang and played guitar at the same time. I always played guitar, but I didn't ever sing. So that was the first day I started singing while I was playing, which is pretty funny because I was so pissed off. But I think what I've always done was just kind of just do what I feel compelled to do. You know, I've always just been a creative person. So I always thought I was going to do art before music, but then music kind of took over. And then, as I was going along, I just realized I wasn't gonna have a normal life. I wasn't gonna go to college. I was gonna just start right away. And I knew that when I was listening to records in my bedroom with my headphones on, and I wanted to be one of those people. I realized I had to be myself and not be one of them or try to be one of them. So from a young age, I started, writing my own stuff and wanted to be, just myself. And my dad died when I was 24. I'd been playing music, but he was 47, and that was something that really made me realize I'm never going to do anything for money, or at least having money be the most motivating thing. It was purely, I'm going to do what I love to do because I could literally die tomorrow. So I think, there's a few things. It's like equal parts desperation and motivation. And, so my goal was never to make, was don't focus on making money. And I can say that I've been successful at that.
And you have like these cool, like one-off, like almost time markers that make you and your bands and your music and your art and your magazine sort of stand out. Like, I don't know if Tom knows this, but you were one of the first bands signed to Rocket Records, which was Elton John's label, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and our High was the first digital video ever on MTV, which is kind of cool because our manager was a drummer on Video Kill the Radio Star. So he was in the first video on MTV, and we had the first digital video. Everything was on film before High came out.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So you have like these weird little ear markers of like things that you did. Again, I was telling Tom this morning about the magazine. Do you still do the magazine in Annapolis, Maryland, the coffee table style deal? Can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's called Upstart Annapolis. I've been doing it for 10 years. And, basically, I love the music and art around this town. That's the reason why I stay in Annapolis and, in Maryland. And I just would see, people would be would put like a blurb in the newspaper or a blurb in a magazine about a musician or an artist, and I'm like, we deserve an entire magazine. This is ridiculous. So I just make it's a quarterly magazine, comes out 4 times a year, but it's super high quality, so people keep and collect them. So it's like a coffee table book style thing, and it's just, it's all about creative people, and it doesn't critique anything. It just basically tries to find out what makes creative people tick, because you see a guy who's playing a room for 20 years in downtown Annapolis, and you might know him, you might know his music, but you might not know what made him, get to that place. And so I always find that as an interesting thing, because, the people I've met over the years that inspire me with their amazing art, it's like, it's the stories behind, it's not the, the product, it's the kind of the, what made those people do what they do.
Sure.
So that's always been interesting to
and
me.
it's cool. I feel like that almost keeps you grounded in a cool way. It's like you're still on the ground in art. And because, like, again, not to bring up another weird one, but is it true that Les Claypool wanted to produce your second album and you talked about it with him, but it never came to fruition?
Well, yeah, he actually called me, and I picked up the phone, and he called me, and I basically told him to F off, and I hung up the phone because I thought it was a friend of mine totally messing with me.
Oh, no.
And so he called back instantly and was like, oh, yeah, there's Jimmy there. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, who's this, really? And he's like, it's Les Claypool. And I'm like, oh. But
He's like,
He had to give you a little,
Give us a little race car drive.
it was funny. So, but what was interesting was, he really liked our first record, Pushing the Salmonella Envelope, which actually we just we're gonna for the first time have them for sale at that show. We did a live version of that, so we have a live CD of those, and we're gonna sell them at the show. But
right on.
But
April
anyway,
25th, Da Vinci.
He loved that record, and he said, I'm interested in producing your second record. I was just honest with him. I'm like, well, if you loved our first record, you might not like our second record, because I want to make a record that's absolutely 100% different than it, because we were getting pigeonholed because High was, the single, and so
sure,
we just have, that's just one of our sounds. It's like there's a bunch of different sounds. So I wanted to make sure people realize that, it's like anybody who's a music fan, if you don't listen to one kind of music, and we didn't have one kind of song, so every song was always different on every record, and every record's been very different from each other. And I was like, be honest with you, I'd love to work with you, and I love your music, but it's not the same record. And,
right.
We ended up playing with him a couple years later, or maybe a year or two after that record came out. And he just appreciated, he said, I appreciate your honesty. It's like most people wouldn't be straight up just like, yeah, you're not going to like it.
Right. I like that, man. That's cool.
He was super cool.
Jimmy, you mentioned you've never been driven by money alone, but you obviously have an insane drive because of first of all, as we all know, starting a band in the 90s and making it become ultra popular seems to be way harder than it is now, just because you didn't have the ability to promote yourself through the internet and stuff. So you were driven to do that, and obviously have somewhat of a business mind because you're able to turn it into a career. So do you think you're just born with that drive that has turned into all your success?
I think it's honestly, I probably have what a lot of people have, which is undiagnosed ADHD. and I'm somewhere on the spectrum, there's no doubt. Because they say that a lot of people like that become artists or musicians, and I think it's because, something different every day. It's not the normal tedium. I would watch my parents work a 9-to-5 job and just go, I appreciate it so much what they did. There's no way I could do that without losing my mind. So, it was definitely a different time. I think, I always had drive to. Again, I said desperation, and desperation is a big thing because, you've got to pay your bills and you got to feed yourself. So it was like, well, if I'm going to be a musician, I've got to figure this game out. And, it was living at Office Depot and using their color copiers to make our album covers and starting a record label and acting like we were bigger than we were at first, by having a record label imprint on our, our independent releases. And then it was, being clever. It's like I would put feathers inside of the envelopes with my press kits So when people pulled them out, this feathers would fly out, and they would always remember it. And the label ended up doing that with our first record to all the records, all the radio stations. So it was always trying to figure out how to be clever and how to be different, because I figured, there's always all these other things that exist, and I've got, this has got to be something completely on its own, not in any genre, and just get to work.
Are we losing a bit of that cleverness now? I mean, you're talking about the feathers thing. I think I remember that back from even like college radio when I was just getting involved in this business. Would have been about the time that you guys would have been breaking, like right around like 97, 99. There's two massive records. Like, what's your opinion of AI? Is it stealing our creativity? Is it a threat?
I don't know, man. I guess the jury's still out. It's just like, when double cassette recorders came around and they said it was going to ruin the industry, and then CDs came around, they said it was going to ruin the industry, and then MP3s came around. Well, that did kind of ruin the industry.
And the last nail in the coffin will be AI.
That's the funniest thing. No, I'm glad you said that. I heard another interview with you where you gave me a stat that literally froze me in my tracks. You said 100,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify every single day, like new songs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I don't even like that. Like, I'm an anxiety guy. Like, I suffer from it real bad. So just hearing that makes me, like, it hurts me a little bit. I'm like, well, they can't all be good, and I can't listen to all of them, and it's just, I don't know.
It's flooding the internet.
I think it's like anything within an art industry is that it's catch-22. It's like it leveled the playing field in a lot of ways, and a lot of ways people can get access to listeners in ways that they could never do before, back when you needed to be on a record label or something. So, I think there's always a pro and there's always a con, you know what I mean? And I think focusing on all the pros and figuring out how to go about it, because the cons will always shut you down, so you just got to, accept all the crap that you can't really fix. And, we've had our songs downloaded a ton. Once Napster came around, it killed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you just figure out, what's important. If getting rich was important, everybody has told me, if I would have done any other profession, I'd be a multi-millionaire. but would I have been happy to do that? And would I be, sitting on my porch right now talking to you guys and getting ready to jump in a van and trailer and hang out with my friends and go play some music for people that, like, somehow are giving us like the biggest compliment in the world, which is that they're spending their own personal time to come and listen to some art that we created. I mean, I don't think there's a better compliment in the world. You know what I mean? Whether it's 10 people or 1,000 people. So.
Perfectly said. April 25th at Cafe Da Vinci. It's the best venue. I love this venue so much. Yeah. It's in my hometown. It's in my hometown of DeLand, Florida. It's a beautiful, cute little town. And man, I just can't wait to see you guys there. It's going to be killer.
Yeah, we're going to have a blast, man. We're really looking forward to it. So,
well, Jimmy, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. And I'll use you as inspiration for my sons, where I will tell him I talked to Jimmy Haha, and he
5 more years, and you can get expelled from school and start your creative journey.
Just as long as you tell them that I told them to become dentists, because they can still always play music.
That's true. That's true.
Hold on. That was against everything I thought.
Don't become investment bankers or...
Do music on the side.
Exactly. It's still fulfilling.
Jimmy, hey, thank you for the time, man, and enjoy the rest of your day on the porch, all right?
Awesome, man. You guys take care.
All right, man. Be good.
All right, see ya.
Wow, how that guy's inspiring without even... That's the kind of inspiration I love, is when they're not trying to inspire you, but you just listen to their story and what they get to do, and you're like, oh, yeah, you figured it out. Like, you figured it out, Jimmy Haha.
Yeah, but
he figured out that just having a legendary... It's not for everybody, but having a legendary... alternative rock band and doing what he loves and doing his art and keeping himself fulfilled, and he's diversified it, right? He's got his magazine, he has his band, he has his family, and he's diversified his chemicals. Those chemicals we're all chasing, right? And the dude, people in the chat room were like, this guy sounds so happy. He is happy. He's doing it.
He's also smart. I could tell by just listening
and
to
he's
him
definitely
talk.
on the spectrum. Dude is like, 100%.
Yeah. And, it's
What a good dude.
What's interesting, I read a quote from him, and it said, you could build a fan base now. He's talking about like the difference between current day and back in the day, and he's like, you could build a fan base now without ever playing one show. That's cool and kind of sucks at the same time.
Yeah,
and
you can produce a whole album alone in your bedroom.
It
can be amazing, but it's also kind of sad that you were lonely doing that. Right.
Well, also though, you didn't go through the touring, the self-promotion that you used to have to do, which is a different grind, right? Like, and obviously
it's a different
times
experience
change.
For sure.
But I also think it does produce a less refined band and performer without going through the process. It's kind of like what we see in stand-up. Like the stand-ups that grind their way through touring
Well, they're
for
able
years.
to take criticism even subconsciously and shed off. But the shedding is what you need, right? Where you get better just by experience.
But also you're training to be a better performer. So it's like, it's kind of like in business, some businesses get too popular too fast, and that ruins them, right? Because they're not prepared for the next, they're not prepared to go from making, 10 things to 10,000, and then that accelerated business actually is their downfall.
Right.
And so it's like if you are an artist and you create an album without ever touring, and then all of a sudden it becomes, it hits on TikTok.
It's happened
like,
before.
Yeah, and then it becomes this huge thing, and then it's like, all right, you could sell out, Hard Rock Live now, but this is your first tour, and then it's like, oh man, like it's gonna, you're gonna have to figure that. Like usually in the old school way of doing it, you refined yourself, your performance, you became used to touring and what that means.
Sure.
And you worked out all the bugs, and then you got famous, and then you already knew. It's like it's weird to do it in reverse, where you get famous and then figure out how to tour.
It's almost like any of those movies where the hero, the protagonist, gets the superpowers, but he doesn't know how to use them. And he's flying into walls, and he can't, they do that, that almost that like fish out of water. You have to, it's almost like no matter what, you're going to have to end up doing the woodshedding, the practicing, the performing, the reps.
And what if what you liked is creating music in a studio and releasing it, and you don't like the touring aspect of it, right? And then you're kind of screwed because you are good at a business, and you are leaving the business side of it, out of it, where you're just like, now you can't make a living because you could, make somewhat of a living, but it seems like to be an artist now, you have to tour. You have to sell tickets.
Yeah, well, is this kind of dipping your toe into like our comedian friends that complain about social media? Like I've never seen more than I've seen
you have
now.
to do this.
I've never seen more than I've seen in 2024, where it's almost like all of my comic friends, like stand-ups is what I mean, not comedians, because I guess that's a broad term. But stand-up comedian buddies of mine are all like kind of like, oh God, I just wanted to tell my jokes and write my jokes every night and then go up there and just tell my jokes. And now in order to do this, I have to do this, and I don't want to do this. I want to do my jokes. I understand it, but the job has changed, right? And you can still do that. You're just going to be considered a different version of comedy, I guess. I don't know.
You know what? It would be a good idea, or if there was some sort of like AI app that you purchase, or that basically is like, you hate social media, right? But you're like, okay, this app says film, like, 3 parts of your day, just randomly say something.
They have this,
and then it will put together posts. Oh, they are okay.
They have
so
this.
It's like it makes it super easy for you to just do content.
It's still not super easy.
Okay,
it's never super easy, and that's the thing I'm figuring out.
But maybe it'll eventually be easy.
I mean, it will, but it's still time in. It's still picking up that phone, and you still got to like do something. It needs to be something where you literally sign a contract and they're just doing it in the background, and you don't ever touch your phone. You don't do anything with it.
Well, you get to the next level of that, and then you're just hiring someone, which now a lot of celebrities do. They just have a social media person that just films and creates their own.
We're
going to
get a rebel from that, I believe, and I think we're going to see it with AI. We're going to see it with AI assistants. We're going to see it with all things artificial. Artificial being the key word here. We are going to see a swing back from that because it's just not genuine. In fact, I think now more than ever, it's the least genuine it's ever been. It is the most artificial. When I read AI, I am so sick of AI.
Yeah,
and I use it a lot. I tell you about it. I was doing some new stuff this morning, showing you something else. And now it can read like an NPR journalist to me, and then I can have it sign off telling me it's a homosexual robot. It's awesome. Freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's amazing what it can do, but I'm sick of it because it's not real, and I know it's not real.
Yeah, but you grew up in a real society,
I know.
and then
I'm an old-timer.
our kids are going to grow up in this AI
real-timer,
society, and that's where they're going to be. So,
I wonder if Maisie will keep some of her old-timer reality because she's a dancer. And dancing is as old as it gets. That is some tribal around the fire caveman BS. That's how we communicated, right?
Yeah.
I'm almost like, I wonder if
AI can't do that.
It can't.
Although you
It
could
will.
get a CGI
there
Maisie.
will be a Boston Dynamic robot doing better dancing than Maisie. It's just happening. It's going to happen.
Well,
It's going to happen, dude.
or even
You don't think robot dogs are going to be better hip-hop dancers than humans? You're insane if you say no.
it will take video of Maisie dancing and then just recreate a CGI of her dancing. Which, what is that? It was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we even doing that for? Like,
I'm hoping she'll rebel against it, right? I'm hoping she'll be like, that's not real dancing. Real dancers use their legs. Like, I'm hoping that the dance gives her that. I want her to be a traditionalist. I'm so sick of AI.
You know, it's funny, though, but we accept it in movies, like when we see, like...
That's CGI. That's a different eye.
Yeah, no, but...
I'm okay with CGI.
But we're fine with CGI stuntmen and, you know, that kind of
I
thing.
like a regular stuntman better, though. Yeah. I do like it.
Oh, well, that's old school.
Until I hear that they died, and then I get sad.
I remember when, like, Blade 1 was one of my favorite movies.
Man, you and I come back to Blade 1 so much. Should we do a movie night online? I'm not joking. Where we watch on Twitch and YouTube. We'll just watch it over here, Blade 1, and then just have people watch it with us, because I love that movie.
Such a
good movie. Have the boys seen that?
But no, they're too young.
You need to make them men. It's time for Blade Night with the daddies. What if we did Blade Night with the daddies, and we had other daddies bring their kids, no matter the age, any age.
Whatever you want.
I'll rent out a theater. Whatever. It's not my child.
There's not really anything. Is there any?
The blood orgy in the beginning. I thought there were some. I know Tracy Lords is in the beginning scene, but she doesn't get naked.
I don't think there's tease in Blade.
But I will lean over to my daughter and say,
violence.
Just so you know, Tracy Lords was an underage porn actress that was abused way back in the day. Bad. That's her, but she's got her clothes on.
And then people were seeking the actual video of her underage, which kind of makes them a pedophile. But no one talks about it.
I mean, it doesn't. Let's argue that.
Well, it's the definition of if you have an underage.
But that means that that means, though, without knowing, there were thousands of people that had in their possession physical copies on VHS.
Yeah, but they didn't know. They weren't seeking out. And then,
so it's intent. Well, you go with intent.
But then you have the, I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole of like.
Don't rabbit hole.
You could have a 19-year-old woman that's of legal age look like she just naturally looks like a 13-year-old and then dress her up like a baby. And then people are looking at this and they're like, no, well, she's 19 in real life. But you're like, but you want the baby, right?
Yeah, like you put her in a baby costume.
I'm saying, or you want her to look underage. And then it's you go down a rabbit hole.
Do you want to continue with voicemails? Do we take a break? Do we want to break the breaking news that just came out because we are taping this?
Oh, yeah. I guess everybody know by OJ.
Breaking news, O.J. Simpson dead.
Yeah.
I don't know at what age. I do not know at what age he died.
I think he was in his
60s, 70s?
I thought it was 70s but I may be wrong. But I think he was in his 70s.
And people are happy he's dead, right? Like there are people that are like, that guy was terrible, so...
Yeah. Well, people were convinced he was a murderer. I guess there's no way to ever really know. Right, he did do a book saying if I did it.
Will that all be released now? Will we get all the stories now?
It's already released.
But is there anything left to tell there? Now that he's dead, will we get some some weirdness.
Unless he somehow recorded some confession tape or, I guess. But then nowadays, it'd be hard to really even.
My wife's saying he was.
What did he die of a heart?
76 years old.
Oh, okay. Would he die of a heart attack or something?
I'm gonna guess. Yeah.
Anyway,
it was something weird. He was like playing pickleball when he keeled over. A lot of people getting killed by pickleball. Older people.
Older people are exercising, and their hearts.
I didn't realize it was so loud. Pickleball.
Every time you hit the ball, it makes a loud, big ping pong.
Yeah, I don't like the noise. I don't like the noise of pickleball. It's too noisy. They need to quiet it down. I like a quieter. Do you hear them on the Katy Way Trail when you're training? I'm just riding my bike.
I have earbuds in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I never hear I've ridden before without earbuds and dislike it.
How are you doing with telling people on your left and being assertive? Do you still?
No, I don't tell them because they get confused.
You just ride by them?
I blow past them.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever almost hit somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But only when I say on your left.
Okay.
And that's when I almost hit them because then they get confused and they go to the left.
Try to stay on your right and then go, no, your left. You got to do it real fast. Try it real fast. Let's try. The chat room's throwing pickleball death statistics in the chat room for me. Thank you guys for doing our dirty work. This is from a. Yes, sir.
You shouldn't really blame pickleball. You should really blame.
I didn't say I was blaming pickleball.
Old people doing exercise. That causes lots of deaths.
Yeah, true. This is from one of our favorite callers that we haven't heard from in a while.
Tom and Dan. Jim from Lakeland here. A popular theme among conspiracy theorists is body doubles. Recently, there have been body double theories revolving around power wives Kate Middleton and Melania Trump. Now imagine that each of you had to spend an entire day in public with your wives' body doubles. Women who look and sound like your wives, but are complete strangers. I imagine one of you being crippled with awkwardness and the other being a little curious. How do you think you'd handle it? Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Love you too, Jim. Is Jim saying that I would try to perform coitus with the body double and you would be awkward and weird with a body double? Is that what Jim is implying?
Yeah. Jim doesn't know me very well because I too am
horny. Hornier now than ever because he's training every day.
And I feel like since she looks like my wife would be more apt for. Or
is your wife going to get jealous of the body double?
Well, here's why she shouldn't, as much as if she looked totally different.
Telling your wife what she should and shouldn't do. That always works out pretty good.
I like telling everybody how to feel.
You've stopped doing that with me.
No, that's because
you don't do it with me anymore. I was telling Summer about this. I was like, Tom really understands my anxiety now. He just says, that's just you. Just go do your process, buddy.
Yeah. Well, because I realized it was for nothing. Like I'm never going to change you. So what the hell? I was wasting my time. And
it's like our relationship reached nirvana.
I've done this with my wife too, and really,
no. She told me she gave up on you.
Yeah.
She told me she just gave up.
She did, but I also gave up on her.
Oh, it's a double give up.
Yeah. But I gave up a long time ago.
You did the double give up?
Yeah.
And that's what's holding it together?
Yeah. Wow. Everybody should do this.
Yeah, double give up.
Because if you keep trying to cause friction in your relationship and change the person,
I've stopped friction.
Yeah. Friction isn't good. You got to let it glide.
I'm a little thing guy, too, because I'm a little guy. I think little things. Everything to me met with 100% of my force, right?
Yeah.
Small problems, 100% of my force. Large problems, 100% of my force. I don't do it anymore.
Go back to the body double and why my wife should be glad that I'm horny over her body double.
Well, what does that mean? What does that entail?
It means.
Are you like the way that you talk to your body double? Are you putting your arm around your body double? Are you complimenting your body double? Because that's not going to fly.
Well, I'm acting like she's my wife.
Yeah, but that's not. You don't do that with your real wife. So if you did it with a body double, people are going to be like, "That's a body double. He's complimenting her."
Well, I'm more horny for the stranger.
Yeah, it feels different.
Right, well, it's a different person.
But you have to use a condom. Remember that. You have to use a condom
you
with your
don't have
body
to do that
double.
anymore.
There's no AIDS.
I'm 42
We
years
learned
old.
that in this segment. There is no more AIDS.
I'm going to make a declaration right now. I am never, ever going to use a condom again. I don't know if anybody cares about that.
Write that
Even
down.
if I get a divorce
Do you
or
want
whatever.
that on our
like,
new T-shirts to
I
say
am-
that? Tom Van says he'll never wear a condom again.
yeah, that's for
What if your wife asks you
sailors
to?
and
What if
young
it's
men.
a kink? What if
I'll
it's a
do it
kink?
if it's a kink.
Okay.
Yeah, because that'd be weird.
Have you ever tried the lambskin ones? I want
No.
to know what it feels like to put another animal on me. You know what I mean?
Also, what does lamb have to do with any of this?
What does it not have to do with it? Mint jelly, baby, mint jelly. Lamb, mint
like,
jelly.
Also, lamb is a tough animal.
I
Like
hate
it's
lamb.
a tough farm animal.
Yeah, it stinks.
Like-
it's gamey.
yeah.
It's gamey. Don't put that
Like,
on me.
Use
You should have. You know what? You should have used something soft, like a stingray, like their end of a stingray's.
yeah.
Like
a stingray.
End of a stingray's. What are they? They're flappers. What are those things called? You
The
want something
wings.
soft.
Yeah. Stingray's
Yeah.
wings.
Why didn't it's just
Also, like a
natural.
Siamese cat, they're like.
Why don't you just tie a knot in a snake skin?
Like-
That would have worked better, right?
No, but
Snake.
No, but snakes are hard
Eel,
animals too.
eel, sea eel.
No, eels are hard animals too. Like,
Shark skin.
they're hard animals. You need
Elephant,
a soft.
packet. Okay.
You need a house cat. Any sort of domestic.
Too wide.
Well, I'm just saying because their skin's going to be. You don't want to use some rugged ash sheep that's out there in the.
I don't even know what is it part of their intestines. When you use a lambskin condom, hold on, I can have ChatGPT.
No, it's
tell
not
me
even. There's no actual animal product in there.
Yes, there is. You're out of your mind.
No.
You're out of your mind. They still make lambskin condoms for sheep. They still make them.
But it's not. It's synthetic, right? It's
No,
not, that's just
I
a
think
name.
it's a real, and it might be their intestines.
No, it's not a lamb's intestine.
It might be their intestines.
I think you could use synthetic
I'm
material.
locked out of ChatGPT. Hold on, but I ask it. Do they still? Hold on, I got.
I mean, hold on. You could ask
Hold on.
Google this, right?
No. I wanted to read it to me.
All right.
Are there still animal skin condoms?
Yeah, like made from actual biological animals.
Okay, I'm asking it its question.
Because it's a really only animal. Maybe some robot animals. They don't count.
It's okay. It's doing its thing.
Oh yeah.
It's going to take its a little bit of time, and then it's going to read this to you. I'm going to show you my new technology. It's my new
All right.
friend. Here we go, and he's going to read this to you. Here we go.
Yes, condoms made from animal membrane, often called lambskin condoms, are still available. While lambskin is the common term, they're actually made from the intestinal membrane of sheep. These types of condoms are known for providing a natural feeling and can be effective in preventing pregnancy. However, it's important to note that while they may prevent pregnancy, they are not as effective as latex or synthetic condoms in preventing the transmission of STDs and HIV because of the pores in the natural membrane.
Interesting.
For protection against both pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections, latex or synthetic condoms are recommended by health professionals. From the Tom and Dan Studio Newsroom, I'm Hard Drive, the homosexual robot intern.
Oh, thank you. That's Hard Drive, the homosexual robot intern that will now be answering some of our questions around here. That's what he wanted me to call him. So don't even at me. Don't even at me. I don't want to hear it. So you owe me an apology, and maybe even Hard Drive, the homosexual robot intern, an apology, because there are
What the hell?
They are a lambskin condom. Everybody thinks I'm a dumbass on this show. But when it comes to condoms, little Danny knows his lambskin and in his intestines, sir.
Is that made in a factory? Like, how are they? I would love
Do you
to
want
see
to
how it's made of
an
lamb's.
intestine condom?
Yeah, because are they? So they're getting all these lamb intestines, and then they're taking the membrane off of the intestine, and then is there some sort of
People love Hard Drive, by the way. People love Hard Drive, the homosexual robot intern. He's awesome.
They shouldn't love this. That's taking a human's job.
He's hard. People like him. He's on the and he's got an NPR kind of a vibe when he talks.
He also stumbled a little bit, which is odd.
He did. They throw that in there to make you love him. They throw the stumble in there to make you love him.
Yeah.
He goes,
because he's flawed like a human.
I asked him something earlier, and he was like, and he did that. I was like, I love you, Hard Drive. I love him.
He got confused.
I did. He was, I love you, Dan. I was like, thank you, hard drive.
I hope AI just turns into as flawed and as dumb as a regular
big fat AI.
and then we're just asking AI, and it's so dumb that
I'm lazy and
I
tired.
was like, well, I could have just asked EJ this.
We're back to using Google.
I need you to be super intelligent. You're not flawed, stammering around like an idiot.
All right,
I could have done that.
Let's do one more here. Here we go.
Hey guys, thinking about the luau. 2 words. 3 words. Belly flop competition. Or wet. Is that 3 words or 4 words? Wet.
He wants to do wet T-shirt contest.
I know, yeah.
Or
no
belly
ass.
Man, you are out of shape, bro. You need to wait a solid 10 minutes and let your heart regulate before you call. You don't need to call in immediately or jot it down. That's what I do. If I'm biking and I think of something, because sometimes you do, I know you do this too, like where you're running and you get inspired because that's how it works. I think your brain is more active when you're exercising.
Yeah.
I don't try to call my wife. I don't try to call you. I just write it down and then I'll try to remember it later. Most
catch
of the
your
time,
breath.
I come back to it and it's stupid anyway.
Now he's talking about our BDM appreciation party. Anyway, so yes, we have thought about a belly flop competition, and that may still break out after we do a limbo competition. We discussed a wet T-shirt competition. All right, let's be honest.
Well, we started. We actually started. The event was going to be hot tub and mini fridge.
Yeah, disgusting pool party.
It was going to be hot tub and mini fridge's disgusting pool party.
Yeah. And so the problem being is that we thought that nobody would enter the wet T-shirt contest because now with cell phones, everybody would just be filming it and taking pictures. And also, even if someone did enter, let's say they got drunk, they got wild, and they entered this, and then they felt horrible after all the pictures were on social media, then I'd feel bad that we caused that to happen. I know it's their choice.
This is something that only enters Tom's brain. I don't care what you do on your own. Like, if you think of it and you do it, that's on you, and I always think that.
Yeah, but what if we contribute into someone's life mistake? Because
no, they are contributing. We're having a party. I don't.
But then we're like, who wants to get the wet T-shirt? And then some drunk,
teacher,
teacher is like, I'll do it. And then
is she attractive?
And then she wants to win. And then we're pouring. Also, there's the element of me and you pouring.
No. I never sign up for that, dude.
A pitcher of water.
I haven't poured water. I haven't poured water in 10 years. I haven't poured water in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, who's going to pour it?
You get
an intern.
You look at the crowd.
EJ or whatever.
Yeah, you look at EJ, and then you get some of the hornier guys that do it.
Yeah, you're right. Any medium.
I haven't poured water in 10 years, man. But that's amateur.
But we're still hosting it.
Yeah, we get on the mic.
And then it's like now we're standing next to a teacher that's ruined her life and career.
She hasn't ruined her life and career yet.
Well,
because
pictures
she's
come
there, and then one of the more countrified girls just rips her V-neck off. Boom, and they're out. And then the teacher is game.
Yeah, they go,
and then the teacher has a decision to make. She's like, and because the crowd's like, you do it, teacher. And they're like, you do it or we'll hate you. Right?
That's called crowd pressure.
She can feel that.
Horny crowd pressure.
She can feel that. And then she looks in the back, she sees her husband, and he's like, you don't want me to look like an idiot in front of my bros. Pull them out. Right? And then she does it.
Yeah.
Because she's had like 3 watermelon White Claws. That's one too many.
Yeah.
She's not thinking. They come out. The photos are snapped.
Yeah.
And then Tom says it's all our fault because that's the way. I'm like, don't do that. Don't say it's all our fault.
Then email us. She's like, I'm getting fired from Seminole County.
And then you make me drive over here, and I'm at the studio.
You're like,
what you need to do is not answer the email. They write the email, their Facebook message.
I feel horrible.
I'm trying to get a hold of you or Dan or anybody with your company. My photos are all over the website. I need to get those down, or I'm going to get fired. And then you just go, ignore.
No.
You have to do that.
I'm trying to take all the photos down, but they just keep coming.
Nothing can be done.
Well, because even the act of me taking them down will cause 10 more to pop up.
Oh, my
because
God,
then
yeah.
people get mad. They're
Well,
like,
that's the Streisand effect.
Yeah,
when you when she remember, she's like, I don't want anybody sharing the pictures of my house on the beach.
Yeah.
And then it was like everybody's like, oh, you don't want your house on the beach? Anybody to know where you live?
Yeah.
Here's everybody knows where you live.
Yeah. So what happens when someone, some celebrity sues another person because they have they stole their nudity pictures on their phone. They hacked their phone, and then you're like, what? J-Lo's got a sex tape. You find
I don't even know if wet T-shirt contests are allowed in Florida anymore. Let's ask.
Well, you can do it with a bikini top, but you can't do it.
Hard drive. Are wet T-shirt contests allowed in the state of Florida?
All right.
See if this works here.
Yes, wet T-shirt contests are allowed in Florida, subject to local laws and venue policies. From the Tom and Dan Studio Newsroom, I'm Hard Drive, the homosexual robot intern.
All right.
That guy's pro.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Johnny on the spot,
Yeah.
and you don't have to do the sign off every time. It's a little formal.
And that's what I'll be telling the cops at the Sanford PD when handcuffed. I like when you're handcuffed and they make you lay on their hood, and then your head is.
My favorite is.
And then
when
I'm still talking to them, but my face is on their hot car hood.
I like that. My favorite is when you're on the hot car hood, but then they do realize that my wife and kid are there. So they get me up. They let me bend down to talk to Maisie, and then they also hold the cigarette. My hands are behind me, but they're holding because there's nothing more demeaning to a cop than making his hands smell like cigarettes while you talk to your child. You're like, come on, man, let me get a couple toots. And then he's holding my cigarette, and then I'm whispering to Maisie. I'm like, look, I'm making that cop hold my cigarette. That's what I'm telling her. I'm like, you know, I want you to know something before they take me off to jail right now. Your old man is making this cop hold this cigarette, and he stinks, don't he? All right. You just know who's tough. All right. I'll see you. I'll bond out. And then they take me away.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
All right, we got our BDM Appreciation Week party
Did you
coming
just
up.
give me a get to where? All right.
No,
I heard that.
I was trying to think of all the stuff I got to promote.
Yeah, there's a lot to. There's a lot to promote.
Our ACT 10-year anniversary is coming up.
How
May
you feeling
31st.
about that? How you feeling about the big 10-year, the most it was a reluctant radio show, A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I don't even know if we really wanted to do it. 10 years. It started as a Wednesday show. Boom.
yeah.
Started as a Wednesday.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Started on the Wednesday. Now we're here.
So, speaking of ACT 10-year, and
did you take a scoop of kratom? Your mouth's dry.
We've been recording all day, so got me. So ACT started as a Wednesday, once a week show.
Yeah.
And I remember
we have guests here, by the way, too. We're staring into each other's eyes, and we're not looking at our guests.
Our guests are a surprise announcement.
Yeah.
So ACT started as a Wednesday show. They came to us. They're like, "Would you want to do some podcast or want to do some show?"
Do you remember where we had the meeting?
In Linda Bird's office?
No. Do you remember where we initially had the meeting with Jack Bradshaw?
I do not.
It was right over here.
Oh.
Before there was a Gators Dockside here, there was an Irish pub that was way too large. We called it the Way Too Large Irish Pub. And that's where we had it, right up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have no recollection.
I knew you wouldn't. My memory's coming back since I'm not drinking alcohol as much.
So we agreed to do a show. We originally wanted to call it the Coochie Cutters.
The original name of our show was the Coochie Cutters. It got nixed.
Turned into A Corporate Time, and then I think we did just that one Wednesday show for like 4 or 5 months, maybe, or was it 3 months before we started doing it?
I think it was
Monday through
right
Friday?
at 4. I think it was right at 4 months.
Yeah. And so that's how ACT started, and then now we're doing a GD 10-year anniversary, which is nuts. So,
yeah, and you can be a part of it. It's going to be at Sanford at the Wayne Dench Performing Arts Center, the Ritz Theater right there. Get your tickets online. I think there's about 50 left, so we will probably sell that out.
So, speaking of that, we saw a situation that happened, and someone we knew got laid off, and then we were like, well, we know what that's about, and we're like, I wonder, and Daniel and I talked, and we came up with an idea that we thought was a win-win for everybody.
Well, it just keeps the most coveted people on the radio station, right? Like, it keeps the fan favorites.
And on the show with us right now is comedian, soon to be podcast and radio star.
He's definitely that before, but we're about to ink
former
it.
radio
Ink the deal.
star. Ross Paget is here. How you doing, Ross?
Man. So I felt that whole announcement hyping up. You know, it was getting close, and I was like, dude, it feels so cool to be talking back into a microphone with a boom arm. What are they? Mic arm.
A mic arm. Yeah.
And Ross's buddy Joel's here. How you doing, Joel?
I'll give him a blast too.
Oh, what a blast.
Yeah, you gotta get a blast. Everybody gets a blast.
So here's the idea that Daniel and I had.
It's a good one.
I think it's pretty solid.
I like it.
We're partial, but I like it too.
We thought, because of course we saw everything on the internet and Facebook, and so many people upset. And we're like,
I got emails that people are upset with me, and I don't even know what I did, but people get mad when they lose their radio friends.
And so Ross and Joel are now going to do a podcast that's going to air the second hour of Wednesday's ACT.
So you're bringing back the old Wednesday one-off. A Wednesday one-off.
Or start,
Hell yeah.
And so Ross and Joel are going to do a podcast that's going to air on Real Radio.
I love it.
It's going to be from 8 to 9 p.m. Every Wednesday.
Yes.
Too dope.
And it's just them.
And it's just us.
It's just them doing it. We don't touch it.
Just the two coochie cutters.
I love it. Are you taking the name? Are you taking the
Small
name?
Which
world.
leads me to an announcement.
Oh, my God.
We have coochiecutters.com.
They're wearing coochie cutters. Oh, my God.
That's a dream.
Wow.
We've had them on the whole time.
Ross, I always thought you were a bit of a tall drink of water, but you got an apple, baby.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I'm surprised though. It should have gone .org. We couldn't get .org. I'm assuming that was you guys.
It's not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's all profit.
So, and this is true. I don't even know the name of the show.
No,
I know
nothing.
You guys really. I mean,
you're going to tell us on this show, on the announcement of your show.
This is as willy-nilly as radio's supposed to be. I love this.
I want all the listeners to know is that, like, absolutely, when you guys and we talked about this, and then a week later, we barely spoke about it until we kind of talked about just, meet up here on this day.
I like that better. It's like, you want to do it? Yeah, I'll meet you there.
And you don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
You've never met Joel.
You know, a minute ago, Joel was changing. Did you see that? A minute ago, Joel was in our office, and he was over near your computer changing passwords and cleaning up some of the problems you had. Then he turned around, took his hat off, and he's like, surprise, I'm on the show.
You've been coochie cut.
When I told my wife about this opportunity, she was like, wow, that is awesome. This is so cool. We're so, but we don't have it. What? We don't have anything. And I was like, yeah, we're going to have to record at the house. She goes, that's so we don't have a studio. I said, we're about to.
It's that dream where you didn't study for the test, but it's a real life and a podcast.
Yeah, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You don't, like, a lot of people don't know that. You don't need a radio station. It makes a lot of radio stations mad, but you don't need that.
As long as half of your podcast is famous, you're good.
That's what you really. I've been trying to get Daniel to host SNL,
He's
and he won't do it.
He wants to make me little Castleberry Jelly Roll. He's trying to make me Castleberry Jelly Roll, and I don't rap, and I don't sing country.
So
I can.
A lot of people know my history when it comes to microphones, when it comes to broadcasting, podcasts, and all of that. But like we just said, you just met Joel for the first time. Joel, in all of our videos, it's definitely a partnership between me and the guy sitting to the left of me.
100%.
We're the I Drive guys.
Yeah.
We're the If Orlando Was a Movie guys. We're all of those sketches have been from both of us.
Yeah, and you've been building your YouTube following for a lot. I mean, you got a huge YouTube channel too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just very grateful that it's we still get a check once a month from YouTube from a video we posted from like 6 years ago. But go watch a Baby Boomer versus Millennial. That was us as well. So the partnership isn't new when it comes to this podcast, but we're kind of we've talked about doing a podcast in the past, and then this opportunity when you guys were so nice we had to say yes. We're very excited.
This is different than a podcast. I don't know if you know this, but this is a podcast on the radio.
That's a whole different.
I don't know if you know what you've gotten yourselves into, but it's like stepping into a time machine that goes forward and backwards at the same time. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You'll rocket into the future, but also going backwards at the same time.
And then it will leave you where you started. And then you're like, why did this even happen?
You could be relevant and canceled because of the same moment on different weeks.
Exactly. You have to be very careful when you're playing in the. We call it patio. That it really is the name of it. We own patio.com. It never took off. Of course it did.
It's right there with Coochie Cutter.
It's right in the old idea barrel.
So Ross, let's, and this, you put this together super fast, and one
more thing. I gotta say one more thing. A lot of people don't know how much of a huge fan we are of you.
It's mutual.
We booked Ross for our first ever live podcast that we did it was the Improv then. It is now the Orlando Funny Bone.
Yeah.
And you and I had seen a competition. It may have been Florida's Funniest or something. Mm-hmm. We saw you. You did a really weird set that was so weird and crazy that we looked at each other and we're like, that's our guy.
And then, friendly reminder, you guys are actually, I didn't know this at the time, but my first interaction with the station, with anything. I had no idea. Ross McCoy walked up to me, my name brother, walked up to me and was like, hey, do you want to do this? And then you told him, or you guys reached out, that all happened. So you guys are crazy. It's kind of cool knowing that you guys are definitely not even just my page one. What's the thing before page one?
Prologue.
No, we're that white piece of paper that people write obscenities on.
That's it. Yes.
It's the piece of paper that you smoke joints out of during desperation hours.
The area you rip out.
But so you're before the first page went my experience and career here in Central Florida and broadcast, and now here we are kind of going back to doing another page one all over again. So I'm a 6'2" thank you from me to T and Dan.
I love that. I'm a 5'2". You're welcome.
Listen,
what are your stats, Tom?
He's lost a lot of weight.
He
lost a lot of weight.
We're not doing weight.
He's doing.
We're not doing weight.
No, I tell my daughter. Like a lot of people are like, we don't talk about bodies in our house. I tell my daughter, we only talk about bodies in this house.
We don't say obvious truths in this home.
I'm the most vanilla, average, look like an undercover cop, white guy as possible. But
you do look like a cop.
I know, 5'9", generic.
He's racist like a cop too.
I got that feel.
Yeah, you should see him.
Why did you say that?
I don't know. Why do I say anything?
I just met Joel.
I know which friends you have in prison.
Yeah, and I want Joel to know the real about first impression.
Well, it's not my fault. It's the prison system. It made me be friends with the white.
You know what they call it? It's a hate factory.
They do.
I read that book. Read the book Hate Factory. That'll open your eyes to the atrocities.
So, Ross.
That's the name of your show, isn't it? Hate Factory.
Yeah.
So that would be
it's a fluid title.
Jack would look at us and be like, so you gave them a podcast and it's called The Hate Factory. I'm like,
Aryan Nation.
I don't know.
Our slug line is Factory.
And you know what I would say?
Guess the
logo.
logo.
Let's give it 3 before we really make. Let's see where the story
goes. This is Florida.
Highest rated show on the station.
It gets the people going.
How rich do you want to get? Anyway, so now basically when this was
Do you
very
like to act
loose.
fast? You like to act fast and
Well,
scary.
you know what? Me and Daniel like to do things fast.
And other people don't.
Because it's the only...
We scare people with how quickly we like to do things.
Yeah.
We're like, there's an opening. It's a show. You're doing it in 3 hours.
Yeah. And by the way, this was a conversation that me and Daniel had all of 2 minutes before I was texting you. Like, hey, you want to do a show? Like, which by the way, I apologize for being so direct in a text with like, hey...
Yeah, I had to tell him to dial back the direct.
I know you just made this announcement 3 days ago, but
would you like a career? Tell me by tomorrow.
I was trying to tell him.
And here's a list of things you need to do.
You're going to have to treat him a little bit more like me. You know, the people that have feelings and hearts and things. You got to be a little more Daniel with this one.
Well, when I read that text, I was like, cool, he sent me instructions.
No, that was a birthday wish.
Okay.
It's very...
I like asking people if they want to do something, then immediately before they answer, send an instruction. Which is kind of a D thing to do.
You do it to me all the time.
If yes, read below.
Yeah. So the format you're gonna have is 42
Audio format.
minutes
Yeah.
of broadcast time, and then I like I said to you, I mean you could do anything you want with it. Within FCC regulations, with your well
Which
familiar
I'm
with.
pretty sure I remember.
Yeah.
There's a good chance. I know. I remember all of those things, and
then you have the freedom to do whatever.
it's so cool. With the last 6 years of being part of the station, I kind of found a whole new respect and love for just what radio is, what broadcast is, what audio programming is, what the listener experience relationship is. It's been so fascinating. So it's really cool to grab all the things that I learned in those 6 years and then implement essentially my version or my edition of it alongside with Joel.
Yeah.
I cannot stress it enough that one of the meetings that we had before this conversation that we're having right now was that you guys really walked into it as a 50-50 partnership.
Yeah.
That's the same exact thing that I'm trying to do here with Joel.
Yeah, I mean, doing the radio show by yourself, like Sean
terrible.
Watson used to do,
Special
or like
talent.
That is a unbelievable. Like when you hear people do a radio show by themselves, like I'll give it to them.
Psycho to do that. Yeah.
I'll give it to
I'm
him.
talking about Sean Watson.
No, he's
it's
talented
a
as
specialty.
hell.
No,
Yeah.
it's a specialty. We used to sit and watch him do it at 5 a.m. Of course, now he has Sabrina and C-Lane. He has a cast of characters that come through
but
there.
doing it by yourself
We
is,
used to see him when he first came to Orlando, and he was on before the Monsters. And you would see Sean come in. He'd load up all of his stuff very quiet. He'd get that mic in front of him, and bam! It was like showtime, and he was performing for himself. And it is a seriously, but not very few people can do that. That is a weird thing to do.
Was there still a Twitch stream, some sort of listener interaction?
Oh yeah, he was taking calls or
all right, good.
He was doing his radio show, but he was doing it live.
He was doing it live.
Yeah, and even I listened to some some sports podcasts, like John Middlecoff is a sports podcast I listen to, and he's solo, right? And while I'm listening to him, I'm like, who are you talking to?
Right.
Because I can't get beyond him because I do this for a living, and I'm like imagining him in a room. I'm like, are you looking at the producer and
You can't do it.
or are you just talking to no one? That's a weird thing to do,
This is a
right?
crazy person.
Yeah.
I
Like
think
imagine
I could
just
do
talking
it.
to no one and just because how the
I
hell
could do it. I figured out I could do it,
Could
but it's
you?
only because I was an only child.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's like that. I've
So
always
you were doing it anyway.
yeah, I had to do it, because my mom was a baron. I don't know what that means. No, that
I
wasn't
think barren
true.
means she can't have you.
No, she
Should
had
be a bear.
She could. They kept no,
Oil
I'm,
baron?
I'm not even going to make that joke because you guys will change how you feel about me. I'm not going to say that.
So anyway,
I'm going to think about it. Though.
Text it.
I'll
It's
text it to
bad
you.
what
I'll-
I'm thinking.
I'll text it to you.
So, and obviously, like you said, Joel, you've been doing sketch comedy with Joel on your
For
YouTube
how
channel.
long? How long have you guys known each other?
Man.
We were just talking about that. I met Ross at a party at my house that his brother brought him to when he was in high school.
Whoa! You
And
made
then
him
we-
underage.
And then, oh yeah,
yeah.
Emphasis on the rage because he was like, I don't know, he was exactly 21 years old,
Yeah.
but
I
on
love
the
it.
early end of that.
Yeah. I
And
love
he
it.
showed up, and it was called the Pick Your Poison Party. Everybody was supposed to bring something that's bad for you that you like.
Get weird, get a little fuzzy.
But that was the only thing. It was like you have to bring something to share.
Let's do that on the show.
I know a guy.
Well,
It's me.
Chase, Ross's brother, brought Ross.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to fall asleep on the couch immediately. So hours go by. Everyone's asking who this guy is.
Me.
And I didn't know. I was like, I don't know, but he's killing it. He's hilarious. He's out there making my friends who are all like, doing comedy.
Yeah.
This is before Ross was Ross.
Yeah. No, there was like the
awesome.
second or third time I was in Orlando, I think. I was 17, 18. I was hanging out with my brother.
21. You were 21
Yeah, I
years
was
old.
20. I was 21 years old.
There you go.
And I got banged up at this party. I was having so much fun. That was our first interaction. Years go by. I always looked at Joel as one of my brother's friends because now my brother's kind of moving around,
Sure.
but always knew who he was. You directed a Fringe show that I was in, and then soon after that, I started making some videos, and then I made a video that popped, and I went, oh my God, that gave me confidence. I can do this.
Yeah.
How do I make this better? How do I this was good, how do I go from good to great?
Yeah.
I hit up Joel, because I know Joel, I trust Joel's comedy, everything. 2 cents.
You trust him with your life?
I've always called Joel my Valencia of comedy. You know, he's my community college of, hey, what do you think about the timing on this or
good
that?
reputation, the Valencia.
Oh, it was kind of an insult.
I thought about that too, but that's why I threw in the part about it being a good guy.
I called
the best of Central Florida.
I called Daniel the DeVry of friends.
He does.
So then,
I prefer an ITT tech myself.
So then when Joel and I started making stuff with each other, we realized, like, damn, this is fun. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. Let's keep doing this.
See, you never have fun.
That's
fun.
I would say
You guys should try it.
I know. I try it all the time.
it's the number one rule, I think, of what we'll be doing at Wednesdays at 8 o'clock
love it.
with that hour because
Oh, Tom's already shaking his head. Look, it's not what I have.
Fun doesn't work.
This is all about fun.
I thought it was the hate guys.
but good times. We're people. We're people persons.
Yeah.
We love people, and hopefully, when it goes right, it can be, given back.
That's freaking great, man.
So that's kind of the main goal of what we'll be doing with the opportunity that you guys gave us.
So let's talk about your experience.
I like to think that I gave it more than Tom. Because I'm more fun.
Yeah, it is a
This
fun
is going to turn
thing
into who gave more.
That very long text was not from you.
Yeah.
When it was Daniel's idea, I was like, how can we make money? I'll figure out a way. I'm joking. But, so then...
Wink? Why are you winking?
Why do you guys keep winking when you say money?
I have a disease.
So
We're doing this for Tom and Dan merch. That's clear, right?
The experience you've had in radio and because you
know what you're doing,
you
man.
resonated with the audience and you see it with how upset everybody was on Facebook and
Where you
stuff.
overshared, and there's a wonderful realness to oversharing that we do a lot of. And now there's no way out. Like, I make jokes about nothing can be done, but there is some truth to that. Like, we've so overshared for 20 years, and I know that you do that a lot. And when you do that, I don't think there's anything more humbling than to show people who you really are.
The reason why I'm so comfortable with that is because I want to entertain. That's really what I'm here to do. That more times than not. Hopefully also be a good dad in about 7 months, but I'm here to entertain.
Yeah.
But 6 months, do the math right. I'm here to entertain.
You'll know when it happens.
Yeah, man, you got no choice. Nothing can be done.
There's a new person in your house.
I loved embarrassing myself because I love making fun of myself and falling on that sword for entertainment, because that way I know I'm not making fun of what you believe in, what you voted for, or what you didn't
I like
vote
making
for.
fun of that too.
Of all those serious things. And I have those opinions, and catch me at a bar, we'll have a drink, but when it comes to microphones, more times than not, I think I can make you think and laugh while not talking about the most serious things. What in the last couple of days of talking, what is this going to sound like? What do we want this to be? What's the vibe?
Yeah.
And the vibe was always glass half full. It's hard, dude. Life sucks.
Yeah.
I agree. I could be a positive person and say, this is for the birds. And it keeps getting harder the older I get.
Yeah.
It's hard to try to be good.
And there's less of it.
And that's kind of our mission at Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And
I love it. Coochie cutters flying again.
Yeah. We haven't dropped the name yet.
We're not there yet.
We'll get to the name and everything.
Cutting cooch every hump day.
We're not there yet. Cooch for everyone.
Hump day cooch cutting with Ross and Joel.
I hope it's this show that gets us fired.
It might be our show that gets you fired.
Yeah, but I hope it never happens. Oh, you said cooch too much.
I think I'm at 7.
I don't even think people use the term cooch anymore.
You're off the station. Ross is off the station again. There would be
It's like
something
a drive-through.
I would feel terrible.
That's called double jeopardy.
There would be something funny about that.
I would feel terrible about that.
But back to
That's me knocking on wood, by the way.
there is
I thought that
something.
was my wife at the door. She likes to stop by unannounced.
I thought it was Jack.
She just likes to make sure I'm not on Amazon.
The audio form of entertainment that me and Daniel,
It's my favorite.
We've always done and we've tried to do video and get into social and stuff, and we do it still. But our initial passion, I guess, and what we've
He's
always
never
done
said that word before.
is
Passion?
is audio only. It's like how I've grew up listening to talk radio and then when
I love
podcasts
audio,
came out.
Man. I don't know if you guys agree. You're both creatives. I like it because I get to draw whatever's happening. I mean, you can have the audio, that's fair.
Oh, it's called theater of the
but
mind.
Everything else, I draw it up. Like
you imagine what people look like?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. And I do pretty well, actually.
So
I actually do a decent job. I'm a profiler.
And this kind of plays into why people like you, Ross, is that when you are listening to audio only, right? If people are driving around in their cars or listening to your earbuds or whatever, and you're listening to someone talk for long periods of time, and in your case for years, 7 years?
Yeah,
right? 6 years. And it's almost
you need
like...
to start exaggerating. You're in radio now,
42.
man.
It's
21 years.
It's nearly, maybe not totally impossible, but nearly impossible to hide who you really are. And because as you are just talking and being yourself, like people are listening to you they're listening to everything, like every inflection of your voice, and like
it's very pure. Yeah,
almost like they could tell if you're telling the truth or lying or genuine or whatever. And I think that's a testament to who you
100%.
are, is because they could know you're genuine and you're not hiding anything. You're not not playing a character. You are who you are, and people like you. And I think, and that's what
that would be a great time to tell everybody, if you listen to me, what is it, on that show, my first year, looking back on it, oh man, would I look back now and cringe, because there were so many lessons that I learned. I'm not going to show up and write 14 jokes, say it on air, and then everyone go, yay, you did it. Because that's not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
That's manufactured. That's produced. That's not talk. That's not conversation.
Right. How was it for you with having your like a sketch background, stand-up comedian background, and all of a sudden
writing his own show? You guys have written shows together. You've written full movies, right?
Well, that's another cool thing we get to talk about. We have wrote a play that we're about to debut next month at the Orlando Fringe Festival.
It's a coming.
And I have no problem saying it's the best thing that we've ever done.
That's rad, dude,
by a long shot.
Oh, wow.
It's the hardest thing we've done. It's the most we've asked of ourselves.
Nice.
Yeah, we're doing. It's an hour. It's 10 new sketches.
Dude, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It turns out it is. We kind of thought it was a great idea, and then when we got halfway through, we were like, I don't know.
Oh, man, there's 5 more.
We could learn to juggle quicker. But it worked out. We're proud of it, and it's what people know, at least us, from is doing sketches.
But yeah, man, if you listened to the first time of when I was, given that opportunity by Jim, Jack, and Deb. That first year, man, I would not suggest listening to that, because I was there were so many times on my end, because I was there for jokes. I love jokes. I love timing. I love irreverence. I love sugar. I don't need too much bread. I give me frosting.
I hear you.
But there were moments. It's the only time I've ever shook. I've never told anybody this, but it's the only time, I would say, about 10 months into it being full time. It might have been around George Floyd. It was some very serious topic, and all of a sudden, Jim looked at me and went, "What do you think?" And when you said you find out who you are, or you can't hide who you are on air to a certain degree, when that moment happened, I just remember for the first time my left leg started shaking, because I was like, man. I don't. You want to say the right answer, but here's the thing. You're live. You don't have enough time to really come to grips with how do I feel about this.
And you don't want to mess it up, or maybe you didn't get him enough thought.
Or say something hard,
I asked him, I go, what do you think of George Floyd? He goes, can I get a hi-ya? And I was like, inappropriate, man. I was like, get the hell out of here.
It was those serious moments that helped me and become more experienced. And the whole reason why I even bring that up, because what you just said really stuck out to me, is that you can't hide who you are after 6 years of a 4-hour show 5 days a week. So the station helped me find out who I am and what I'm confident in, what I want to be and who I want to pursue, because of those tough conversations that I had in front of 75,000 people.
Yeah. And you're right. And it was a learning process, and now that you have all those reps, you could turn that into your own show, and it allows you now to do a lot of different things, because obviously you're an artist, and it gives you this ability to have a podcast that
You can
gets
make
aired.
beef jerky if you want to.
Try it out.
We may.
I'm going to start dehydrating some beef.
So
I'm going to start doing that.
You're
He's
gonna have
doing it.
your podcast that is going to be obviously pre-recorded like ours, aired on Wednesday nights for all the radio audience to listen to.
Yep.
But they can download the podcast just wherever podcasts
I'm guessing
are.
wherever you get your sketches, wherever you get
And
your YouTube,
wherever you find out about the Fringe play,
Fringe, everything
you will all
else.
go here, and then that podcast will be right there for you.
The Wednesday show will be roughly 40 minutes, about 40 minutes, but the actual podcast itself, we plan on going a little bit past an hour.
Nice.
So there's going to be more show out there than just the 8 o'clock showing that you guys are so gracious to give us.
I love that, man.
So let's get into the name of it.
All
right. So
Very excited. This stuff makes me nervous too.
The
It's
hate
like a
farm.
baby name.
The hate
It's like
farm.
a baby name, right?
That's valid. You
It's
should
like when
be.
somebody comes over and they're like, "This is my baby," and I've named it, Flark.
Yeah.
I don't know why I picked that name, but
and we've decided it's not ugly.
Yeah, and then you're
Please
just
agree
like-
with both
you're
things.
Like, that's cool. It's short for something.
it's hard because when you give them
I
the
hate
task.
our name now. I hate it. Why? Oh God, it's too specific. It's clunky and long. We
well,
need it
it's
to be separate
confusing
at the
to
time.
everybody.
It's confusing. It should just be Tom and Dan.
Yeah.
It's just like, why is it a corporate time, a mediocre time? People get confused.
They're like, what is it? Is it about business? You're like, no.
Everyone's like, it's a business show, right? I'm like, yes, it is. What? I don't even care. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, why is there a skeleton? Is it about Halloween? You're like, I don't know.
We ran into, I don't know, 2-3 days. This is getting embarrassing because hopefully the name delivers.
Oh, it will.
You can change it at any time.
Nothing matters. You're on radio now, man. Nothing matters. You
Like,
can do anything you want. Like, I don't think you understand the freedom of where you are in entertainment.
I think the problem is we do. So we spent 4 days just saying the name back and forth.
To each other.
Well, just
to each other.
To each other, different names.
Yeah.
What do you think looks good? What letters do you like? I mean, it's very easy to overthink something that it's a tattoo.
Yeah.
It's a tattoo.
Yeah,
this thing's going to be here forever.
It is.
Yeah. But, it's funny. Is
We should have thought about that.
well, I was just pitching to Daniel.
They're doing so much better already than we've ever done.
You know how mad we were when after a year, we're like, let's do a new intro every show, and then
This is my idea.
and like The Simpsons,
we got to cut right in. You mean that? Yeah.
on a corporate time.
Yeah, I was like, let's change the intro every
Yeah.
day, like The Simpsons.
Oh, man.
It'll be
I was
awesome.
like, it's easy. I'm young. I'm a young editor. I'm young.
I want to edit that.
I'm young without children. I'm
Yeah.
not married. Let's rip.
Not only a elevator conversation, but then Black God describing what's on the show.
Yeah.
This whole
Let's have two people describe what's going on the show, and let's improv a different intro every single day. I said,
Yeah.
and he goes, "That's a great idea, boy. You're so creative, man."
And they're like, well, we'll be, after 1 or 2 years, that'll be it.
I hate it so much.
10 years.
I hate it.
Decade
I
of
hate our handshake for our
slavery.
show. I hate the names of everything.
Yeah, it's been a prison. Anyway,
Hey,
be careful what you start with.
This has run its course.
Don't start
Let's
with
just
something
give them this. Let's just give them this now and walk out.
So what we will be starting off, though, is we did talk about this, 10 sketches. There is a play. It is the funniest thing that I know I've been affiliated with. That happens next month.
All right.
The podcast, there's still going to be YouTube sketches. It's time for me to find out who I am outside of a microphone. It's weird. I found out who and how I feel about things on air, but now it's time to kind of find out who I am off of it. And this is just one aspect. So I'm very excited. We've talked about 10 sketches at the Fringe.
Yep.
We've talked about what we're doing as the podcast, but we haven't told you the name.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good Sauce with Ross and Joel.
All right.
Good Sauce with Ross and Joel.
Good Sauce is a great name.
Good Sauce with Ross and Joel.
Good Sauce with Ross and Joe.
That is
Good
a
sauce
perfect
with Ross
name.
and Joe.
Yeah.
Good Sauce with Ross. Yeah, the alliteration. Yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
perfect.
it. It does deliver. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good
That's
sauce.
a pretty good one.
It's good sauce.
We tried so many different ones. Hate Farm was one of them. That was our go-to. I think that was that was
It's
our number
coochie cutters, but cutters with a question mark instead of a Q.
And then we tried it with K's and Q's. Yeah, we tried it all
got
different
nuts.
ways. But yeah, Good Sauce with Ross and Joel.
I love it.
10 sketches coming out in May.
Love it.
There more and more projects. Stand-up comedy. My God, it was wild. You get the phone call, you get let go, and what I keep telling people is that I realized how busy I was the moment I got that phone call soon after of going, all right, well, there's still a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, no.
Too much to do.
And sometimes, I mean, it really is. Change is a good thing. Like, man, I'm telling you, I've been listening.
I can't
to this.
see a scenario where you don't work for yourself independently and just entertain.
That's the goal.
No, but it's like, right? Like, you look at somebody like you, and I look at you guys, and I'm like, but it's the best way to be. Wouldn't you agree, T?
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
And and that's what I've realized now when I'm 42 years old is like,
God, you're 42?
Do whatever makes you happy.
Your sideburns are so great. What's going on there? You look like Jonah Jameson, the Spider-Man's boss. Isn't that his name?
Yeah, Spider-Man's boss.
You know who I mean.
Yeah, the guy with the great sideburns. And buys the pictures. He's like, I want a picture of Spidey.
Yeah, Whiplash.
Yeah, we are farmers, guy.
But you can build your own business now in entertainment and make it whatever you want, and whatever way revenue comes in, it could be 10 different ways, and then like through those 10 different ways you're able to make a living.
10 sketches,
and you do little bit here and
He's
there.
Stealing from you. He's just regurgitating everything you're saying.
I'm seeing what we signed up for.
Joel doesn't trust you.
You thought you were getting the funny hippie. I make sense.
Joel's not trusting you.
He does PI work on the weekend.
Did that man just tell us that we should do a play called 10 Sketches?
It's cool to, especially at the beginning too, where you're
driving. You guys are driving it.
Yeah, you're driving it. You're like, all right, what can we do? You're building it, and
what can't
it's exciting.
You do? Oh, I hate saying that. That's so corny, but it really is the truth.
Now there is though the point where years down the line,
you start to hate it.
It just turns into a regular job, and then you're like, what else can I do?
I think most of you will have moved on by then, though. Right?
This sounds like when your aunt and uncle come into town and visit, and they get drunk and tell you they hate each other.
This is what it is. We're the drunk aunt and uncle podcast.
I've never loved your aunt. I just, it's for tax
convenience. We both wanted to go to Florida. It's a hitch and a ride.
It's a formality.
You know how much I'm paying the ass divorces?
When the kids leave, I'm going to Europe.
But I know in the last 2 weeks, because you have to write down you have to make yourself a 9 to 5, which is that's wild to do. It's kind of it's exhilarating and it's scary, but I've been trying to give myself a 9 to 5. So I mean, we've really talked about it being a trident of entertainment. So you have podcasts, you have stand-up, and so you can see us live, and then you'll also see beginning, middle, and end. And I put my hat on this statement. I'll die on this hill. It's the one thing that I feel a little too confident in is those online sketches, which, due to life, having a full-time job, those are the things that take the longest to achieve, and the thing that I look forward to the most.
First piece of advice, you work for yourself. Make yourself a 10 to 2, not a 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is
I was
the
just looking
corporate.
at the clock, and we're about 51 minutes. We're going to start wrapping this up. I'm about to go home.
9 to 5 is what Henry Ford wanted his factory workers to do.
To that, because I know that both of you guys probably get a lot of your inspiration, a lot from being experiences, being soon to be dad, already a dad. There's a lot to.
And all honesty, like me and Daniel realized, because like we both, when from doing this business, we go we both have the mentality of work as hard as possible, right? So we would burn ourselves out.
10 to 2, though.
But we
would do the 9 to 5. We would, and up until maybe even maybe a couple of years ago, we were doing that, and then one day we're like, this is.
It was affecting the actual content
and our relationship.
and our relationship.
And it was making us angry at each other, and like we're snip snappy at each other, and we're not those guys. We don't we don't see eye to eye, but we don't disagree. It just makes a better product when you have different ideas.
So if it's all work, we realize like that affects the art. and the art is the only part of the business that you need for it, the work to work.
Yeah,
you know,
you get scary but you guys won't do that.
If the art is not as
Smarter,
good,
less
then
old.
the business fails, and like so, it's a hard balance when you're making a small entertainment business. So just keep that in mind too. Is like working too hard can negatively affect the actual content that you're trying to produce. So, but you'll learn the balance.
You don't want to cut the coochie too much. You do that. What do you got?
So
not much.
Yeah. I didn't want shame on me.
Yeah,
I don't.
And you're still building your business, so the podcast will be available. Hopefully, the beginning of next week.
Yep.
After and then it'll take a little bit of time to be get. I was telling Ross, I was like, to get on Apple Podcasts. There's like they have to approve
faster
you.
now. Yeah,
it is faster.
It is
but,
faster now.
But I remember when there was a time where it was like 3 weeks. They had an approval process. I think with
Same
their
thing
app,
with medical
it's fast.
marijuana. It's like I was there when you had to write a letter, like a handwritten letter, and send in a check.
An essay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You got to send that in there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for both of you guys.
We are as well. There's a couple things I need to say at the end of this thing, which is, first of all, genuine thank you to you two.
Oh, man. Our pleasure.
I don't know how long that you said it was a 2-minute conversation. I will make my damn sure that you guys are going to enjoy giving us that hour.
I can't wait.
The second thing is I need to personally thank all the listeners in the last 3 weeks of my life. It's been the most emotional aspect of the last 3 weeks, having my P.O. box get filled with baby gifts, having my merchandise. We sold out of sizes. I'll never come close to being able to describe what that was like for me in the last couple of weeks. Cool. And then the third thing I need to thank, and I would honestly, it should have been the first, and it could have been the second and the third. I need to say thank you to my wife, because when I told her the news of the unfortunate thing, which was a bummer all around by all parties. Don't be mad at anyone. It happens. But when I told my wife that, she didn't flinch. And I'm a big believer of, like, when you tell somebody something, that first 2 or 3 seconds, that says a lot more than what the words that they're about to say. Mm-hmm. And I saw my wife's reaction. I just wanted to let everybody know that, hot damn, did I marry the right woman, man.
Man, that's great.
She's been absolutely amazing. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to the listeners. And I love you, Bob.
Oh, man.
It's nice having
you made Tom very uncomfortable.
A good partner.
I hope so. I hope so.
He hates all of that stuff.
Every time I tell my wife some of my ideas, she goes, "You idiot!"
Yeah, that's true. And also, I can't let him take this.
That'll never happen. I'll show you.
I can't let you take this one on the chin. When my wife tells me things like, "I'm leaving my job for a better job," I go, "What? You're doing? Well, I'm so stressed. Why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this to me?
I don't support any of this. I don't support any of your dreams. What do you mean?
You're ruining my life.
You were going to stay there, and you just keep jumping job after job after job, saying they're going to be better, and all you're doing is taking years off my life."
I forgot to tell my wife we were doing that.
You win. Oh my God!
And I love you, honey.
There you go.
Ross, Joel, thank you so much for coming in,
and congrats on Good Sauce.
Good Sauce with Ross and Joel, baby. Let's ride. Announcement made.
There it is.
And that'll air.
That's legit now.
On Wednesday, April 17th. Is that correct? Is that Wednesday?
That is a Wednesday.
That's it.
Next week
out. That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So tune in Wednesday, April 17th at 8 p.m. That's going to be Ross and Joel's new show every week.
What's the name of it?
Ross.
No. We thought about this.
Did you just say Ross Hole?
You called it Ross Hole.
He entered that. That's the name of the show now.
Don't name it something better.
Ross Hole with Joel. Oh,
no! Ross Hole. Okay, Ross Hole. We'll find out what the name of this podcast is next week.
We just found out.
Ross Hole with Joel is the greatest thing.
We're in trouble.
That literally that blew my shirt off for a second.
We already made the magnets.
Did you see that? Sweating. Oh, the Ross Hole. All right, it's either Good Sauce or the Ross Hole with Joel. Okay.
It's Good Sauce.
We got to get out of here.
All right, bye-bye.